You're live. And it's just me. Hello, everyone. You might be looking at this going, is this a one guy talks tech? And you'd be half right. Caradog is showing up fashionably late today. Caradog said he was going to be here at like 4 o'clock-ish. So, yeah. And I was just like, yeah, if you got stuff to do, man, then duck out. And he was like, no, I'm going to crash the party. I'm like, okay. So yeah, I'm starting off on my own today, and Caradog will probably join at some point. Who knows when? Caradog works on Caradog time. So, here we are, everyone. Wow, I see video. It's a miracle. This usually happens on live streams. Right, hold on, I've got to fold up my cable. I very intelligently didn't charge the microphones. So Caradog's mic is on charge, and I've got a small power bank in my pocket. So, oh, and a £20 note apparently. Hold on, let me save that. Oh my God. It's like having an Apple Vision. In fact, it is like having an Apple Vision. Why did they think that was a good idea? Right, I digress. Right. Oh, one more thing I need as well that I've forgotten to get, that I'm going to need, is this. Right, I'm really hoping that having a cable going up the back side of my t-shirt and out here isn't going to cause a bunch of rustling on the microphones, but we'll see how it goes. Or are you just pleased to see me? Ayo. Okay. Right, not with YouTube these days if an ad blocker is being used. I have premium, so I don't know. Which is not a dig or anything. It's just, yeah, I'm on a family plan, so it works out really cheap. Okay. Except with the Apple Vision, you won't have the £20 note. Yes! Zing. Is the camera on the wonk, or is it just me? The entire back wall is on the wonk. So, yeah. By my eye, the camera actually looks pretty dead straight to me. However, because the entire back wall is wonky, it's kind of a fight that you don't win. So, yeah. Right. You built a little power bank like that out of an old laptop battery. Yeah, it's a fun kind of project. However, the problem is that if you're going to have a big power bank, it's really nice to have one that can actually do like 65-watt power delivery, which this one can. You can charge a laptop off of this power bank, which is why I really like it. So yeah, a big power bank with 65-watt power delivery combined with a Type-C to DC cable set means basically just any time you've got a laptop, you can just charge it mobile, which can be very, very handy. Much higher view than normal from this camera. Yeah, this is one of the Insta360 links, and so it has a. I should have pulled back and punched in actually. I could still do that. We've got a way higher field of view. The camera is actually lower and way closer to the bench, but it's got a massive field of view, so you're getting a big wide shot. Whereas normally we're on Caradog's mirrorless with like a, I don't know what he uses, like a 50mm lens or something like that. So it's way further back and it's punched in further, which gives us that narrow view. I guess I could pull the camera back and zoom it in a bit, but as soon as I start zooming, we start losing quality. So, you know. But yeah, what I could do, in fact, is we could just punch in on me. I'm going to save this. Hold on. Add preset. And then I'm going to add another preset. And let's just come in closer to me. I'm going to do that. Woboosh. Hello there. Maybe not that close. We could go that close. Actually, that kind of works if it's just me. There we go. Update position. Okay, this is where I live now. So it's just me, everyone. Hello. All right. Too close. What do you mean, ew, Graham? All right, fine. Back we go, I guess. All right, keep your secrets. Can't see the desk. It's true. All right. Merch update. Maybe this weekend. Everything is behind schedule at the moment. Merch is really close, and it only requires me to like sit down for a Sunday afternoon or something and launch some stuff. However, this weekend I have to edit a metric crap ton of video because I didn't put out a video this week because I didn't have anything ready in time, and I've got like 2 other video projects that are ongoing in the background that are difficult to make stuff. So that's the other reason. So I've got a lot of video editing to do this weekend. So like merch is not my priority at the moment. So yeah. Picture looks good. Slight fisheye look. Yeah, again, that's just because we're at a very wide shot, and fisheye is generally bad. You should pull back and zoom in, but I'm not going to fiddle with it. You can see a zipped. I've got a spot on the side of my face at the moment. So like, yeah, that's the thing. Coffee is ready, and how far are we in? We must have been in for 10 minutes. This is ready to plunge, so I'm going to do it. Anyway, right. So today, I've got. So the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that my slime VR box is here. I am going to build some slimes, but that's not what we're here to do. I've got those here purely for the purposes of testing this soldering kit. So coffee first, Quentin, otherwise I will just crash half an hour into the stream. Anyway, so about 2 weeks ago, I was hanging out in the Slime VR Discord, and in the DIY room there, a question that very regularly comes up is a question about what kit to use, what soldering irons you can use, and stuff like that. And because this is obviously a hobby project, the general standard is way, way lower. And people obviously want literally the cheapest viable product. And people were saying like sort of, oh, make sure you get good quality solder and stuff like that. And my response to that is just like, man, it's through hole. It doesn't matter. And like, to put things in perspective, the hobby skill level is very, very low. You know, I've seen soldering jobs there where you're like, how did you mangle it that much? And a lot of people will say, oh, they've got a crap soldering iron, or they're using bad solder. And so this kind of raises the question of, okay, so is soldering a skill issue, or is bad equipment just a lost cause? You know, like if you're using really terrible equipment, is that actually hindering you that much? So I turned around and said, so, you know, we were talking to the chat and we were talking about what was available. And I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what then. I'm going to go on AliExpress and buy the cheapest soldering kit on AliExpress. Let's get the fire hazard soldering iron, the cheap, awful solder and stuff like that. And let's see how hard it is to actually put a slime together with that. So let's find out how bad is it with the worst soldering iron I could find. And so it has arrived and it's here, and I'm going to share it with you and we're going to explore it. So that's the plan. Have we commented on the Intel fiasco yet? I don't think so. I don't think it came up that much in detail a couple of weeks ago, which is when we were last live, because it was still a developing situation. But I don't really have a lot to add. I mean, Caradog and I, it's no secret that we prefer AMD at the moment. We like the product that is good. And it's no secret, we've been saying it for a long time, Intel have been in a bad shape for a long time now. We've been saying for literally years now that Intel is not in a good place. And this is just, the current situation is the straw that broke the camel's back. So yeah, I don't really have anything to add, if I'm honest, to the situation, other than what people already know. I don't recommend Intel CPUs at the moment, not because of what's going on, but because the only way Intel CPUs are competitive is to use double the electricity of an AMD CPU. I don't understand why anyone has been building Intel for the past 2 years, basically. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion, really. So yeah. Ryzen 9000 is here. Is it better? Not really. Kind of. It's complicated. Ryzen 9000 doesn't have the massive performance uplift that everyone wanted, but A, we haven't got the X3D chips yet, which is where we'll see, hopefully, game improvements. It was no secret. I said this in a couple of episodes ago when I titled the episode "Wake Me Up When the X3D Chip Is Out." I don't care about the non-X3D AMD CPUs at the moment because it's no secret that the X3D ones are the fast gaming chips. So, yeah, in a surprise to no one, the 9000 non-X3D chips are not that much faster versus previous gen. However, they are more power efficient, which is good. I think it's good that AMD are moving in the direction of efficiency. So, yeah, it's not worth upgrading from 7000 to 9000, but that hasn't been the case for a long time. It's never been worth upgrading by one generation. Well, almost never, So I don't think that's a shocking revelation. So yeah, Intel for lower end machines makes sense. Yeah, that's fair. Over non-X 7700, even worse value. That's because the 7700 is older, However, at some point, this is the thing. There's two ways of looking at it. This is the graphics card problem. There's two ways of looking at this. There is what is economical to buy right now. What can I buy right now? And then there is, in a vacuum, is it any good? Now, so right now, yeah, absolutely. A 7800 X3D is a way smarter choice than a 9000 series. No brainer. However, when the 7000 series CPUs have all dried up, when they're not making them and there's none in stock, well, how good is the 9000 then? It's fine. So that's the thing. We saw this when we saw this when the current gen graphics cards came out, when the 7000 series Radeons and the 40000 series RTX cards came out, and a lot of the mid-rangers were fractionally better than the previous generation, but cost more because because the other cards have been slowly going down in price. It's the same situation there. While the older generation is available, yeah, it's better bang for buck. But that older generation is going to stop being in stock at some point because they're going to stop making it. And then the new card will be fine. So that's the thing. You've got to ask yourself, when are we, you've got to ask yourself, when are you going to, when are you buying? What is in stock and when, etc., etc., etc. Even in a vacuum, it's a poor gen-on-gen improvement. Yeah, this is true. We've also been spoiled by seeing like 20% improvements and things like that. And the other thing as well is that when you activate PBO, it gets a lot better. So, I'm not going to say that Ryzen 9000 is brilliant. I watched the reviews and was generally unimpressed. I was like, okay. But if you're going to build a new computer tomorrow, and the 9000 CPU, at some point it's going to be 10 quid more to get the newer generation CPU. So you build with that instead because it's slightly better, or it uses less power. So, yeah. What's the plan with the Dell on the bench? Nothing. It's just there because I haven't moved it. So yeah, that's the thing, is I'm not saying that I think 9000 is good as such. It's a very solid meh. But it exists and it's not worse than the previous generation. Fine. So yeah. And also, just as I said, until the X3D one comes out, I don't care, because I'm interested in gaming. And if you're buying a gaming CPU right now, why are you not buying an X3D? It doesn't make sense to buy anything that's not an X3D. So, yeah. The stream looks different. Are we using a different camera? Yes. Caradog is not here yet. I am going to punch in a little bit, though, because everyone's just like, oh, wide-angle view. So I'm just like, all right, I'll come in a little bit. I'm going to punch in a little bit. And I'm going to come down a little bit. There we go. I think that's the view we normally have. There we go. Just a shade. All right. So with all that in mind, I'm going to start having a look at this this kit here. Caradog getting married in Monaco again. I don't know what he's up to. He went to some event. He's going to drop by at any moment. At any moment, the door will go, and I'm going to be like, that better not be a customer. So, yeah. You like Wendell from Level 1 Tech's review. He goes into more than just the gaming aspect. That's fair. It depends on what you care about. I'm not super into productivity. So, yeah. Certainly, yeah, if you want productivity reviews, then yes, the Level 1 Tech's one is probably going to be pretty good. Let's see. Osver Bildeter. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. I got 2 Latitude 5450s in your family. Do you have any experience with Windows 11 on these? Nope. I have not tried to run Windows 11 on them. So, yeah. Coffee getting cold. No, it takes longer than that. All right. Let's see. Bench cam with face. Bam. And I'm just going to change the settings on that because that feels super punched in. Okay, I think that'll do. Right. Yeah. Oh, I need to rotate that. That's what's wrong with that view. Oh no! Wrong one! That's the one I need to rotate. There we go. That looks better. All right. So behold, everyone, this is the cheapest soldering set on AliExpress. I paid the princely sum. I think this is. I think the base price on it is like $17 US for everything you see here. Now, like, you can buy just like the soldering iron on its own for like $5 or something like that. But I bought the set because let's have a rummage and see what we've got. We've got a cheap multimeter, which I will have a look at. This is probably like 3 digits or something. I've got to find some batteries for it. We've got this fantastic looking soldering iron. This is allegedly an 80-watt soldering iron, which I will put to the test. Temperature adjustable as well, thank you very much. And it also came with some spare tips. And some of the tips in here look useful to me. We'll do a close-up on those in a minute. Some of these tips I actually think look kind of cool. So, so that's there. This is not a punch-down tool, it's a solder sucker. I've actually never used a mechanical solder sucker before. So what this guy does is it's got a spring and a piston in here. And what you do is you press it down and it locks in place. And then when you press the button, the spring pushes the piston back up, sucking solder up through that nozzle. So this is a mechanical desoldering tool. So you heat the thing that you're soldering and you go and it sucks up the solder. So, so yeah, I've got an electric one of these, which is why I've never really used a mechanical one. However, I have long been curious if the mechanical ones, especially a cheap mechanical one, is actually useful. So yeah, so we've got that. We've got some solder here, some really thick solder. This is like, I don't know what this is. This must be like 0.8 mil or something like that. It's called super solder wire. I've no idea what the composition of this is. I don't even know if this is leaded or unleaded. It is fluxed though, apparently. And because it's fluxed, I think this is going to be a solid not awful. Some people have said that they've bought kits that have come with unfluxed solder. And I don't know what to make of that. I'm not sure if I believe them. However, this is fluxed. So if you buy the cheapest kit on AliExpress, you do get fluxed solder. I will do, there are some tests we can do to figure out if it's leaded or unleaded. Because like if it's unleaded solder, its melting point is probably like 200 C. Whereas if it's leaded, it will probably melt at like 140, 150, something like that. I'll citation needed. So yeah. So we've got that, we've got a wire stripper and a punch down tool. Yeah, not quite sure why that's included, but I guess it's because it's a wire stripper. We've got a couple of sets of tweezers. Cheap sets of tweezers like this are fine. Oh, wow, okay. Well, those don't need to be super accurate, but angled tweezers are useful. Here's the... Yeah, those tweezers are kind of mid. They're not terrible, but man, those boys are not sharp. That's not particularly sharp, so... But like, it's not like you're going to be doing super detailed work with a kit like this anyway, so yeah. We've got the probes for the multimeter, which look and feel pretty dreadful, but they're probes, who cares? And then it also comes with just some jumper wires. I don't know why it comes with some jumper wires, but it does. What time does Caradog's private jet land, Graham? About 10 minutes ago. So at any moment, you may hear the door chime go, and I'm going to be like, who the hell is that? So, yeah. Breathe in the fumes. If you feel dumber afterwards, it was leaded. Apparently, with leaded solder, lead does not vaporize at soldering temperatures, so like 400°C. So you cannot get lead poisoning from solder fumes. It's all the flux that does you in. I mean, to be honest, like melted solder is probably not exactly good for you, but lead does not vaporize, apparently. So yeah. Will you be testing the 600 volt upper limit of the meter? No. No, I don't think I will. Okay, right, the first thing I'm going to do, this is a 240 volt iron, or 250 volt, I don't know. However, it came with a European plug, it came with a Euro plug on it, and I don't have an adapter. So I'm going to cut this off and put a proper Queen's English plug on that. This has also got a 13 amp fuse in it, so it will mean that this is slightly less of an electrical hazard. So let me just quickly grab a pair of cutters, and we're going to modify this before we use it. You have to chew it. No. Lead vaporizes at like 1750°C. Oh yeah, there you go then. 13 amps will melt the iron. It's true, but like if it puts a direct short across the mains, it means that it won't explode, basically. Right, cutters. I need to buy some new cutters. Let's get to work. Da 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 da. No earth wire, because of course not. Ugh. That's a bugger to have to modify the iron. Yeah, not super surprising though. Oh, actually, but it came with wire strippers, as was intended. Let's see. I'm going to strip quite a lot off that. I can always trim the wires back. When fitting UK plugs, I found that it's better to have a lot more than you think you need. There we go. Thing with the lead is more complicated. Water has an evaporation point of 100°C, but clouds still do exist. Yeah, this is true. Yeah. Like I say, I can't imagine that it's good for you per se, but it's not as bad as people think, I don't think. However, flux is bad, and you're going to have flux either in your solder or you're adding flux, and flux is mega bad. So, like, it's kind of a moot point anyway. The point is solder fumes are nasty, so yeah. Right. Can that cable grip? I think it can. Behold the majesty of the UK plug, everyone. None of that American rubbish or European rubbish. All right, that's pretty good. Right, that's going to go around into there. So let's trim that back. Use my brand new wire strippers. I've not wired a plug in a long time, if I'm honest, so I'm probably doing this in the wrong order, and electricians are already screaming at me going, oh my God, That's not how you do it. Got to get your money for nothing and your chicks for free. Okay, there we go. That's one. Right. That live wire needs to be a lot shorter. Okay, I'm just going to take it back out the cable grips while I strip the wire. That was about there. That needs to be about there. Caradog has taken down a spy ring or something. It's true, you never know. There we go. All right. I could use my new tweezers, actually. Here we go. Oh, those screws are already undone. Almost. Almost. Oh, my days. Neutral, please. Get in the hole. There we go. Am I still on shot? Good. All right, tighten that back down. Good. All right, that's fitted. Bam. There we go. Slightly less of a fire hazard. Okay, coffee time. Are the wires even copper? I don't know. They felt pretty good, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's copper-clad aluminium. All right. Bestest plug unless you step on it. It's true. Okay, so first things first. I'm going to quickly plug this in and just see how much power it draws. Wow, this cable is very short. Okay, I think I can make this work. All right, here I go, everyone. Firstly, I'm going to check function. Want high and low. High, there we go. Down, up. Cost, nope. All right, I'll just reset this. I've got a power meter plugged into the wall. There we go. Right, that is reset. Right, plug in. 30, 120. Wow, that's up to 350 already. Okay, that's, yeah, that's spiked to 120. And now it's hanging out at 30 watts because it's up to temperature. All right, well, the iron said it was 80 watts. You know what? I think I believe it because it spikes to 120. You did take 6 inches off the end. Come on, I took off that much. So, like, we've lost that much in cable. Yeah. Of course it reaches temps fast. It's none of your USB things. I don't know. I've used soldering irons of old, which were extremely ancient. Okay, let's see. So we can adjust the temperature in 5-degree increments, and it defaulted to 350C, which is fairly reasonable. Right, we've got a stand here and a sponge. Right, I'm going to use the sponge, but I'll level with you. I'm not going to use this stand because there's no planet where it won't fall off the table. So I'm going to get a stand that actually functions. I'll just leave that there. That'll be okay. Whoop. You once had an iron that was longer than the cap. Yes, my granddad iron. We don't talk about that iron, but that's why I believe that. That's why I always think that crap irons will take like 20 minutes to warm up. I'm going to go and wet my sponge. I'm going to make this wet, and we're going to do all of our tinning with a sponge. Welcome to the kitchen, everyone. Expand sponge. All right. Wow, they really skimp on these things these days. Used to get a lot more sponge for your sponge. Okay, right, the sponge has been wetted. Moist. Stick it in the mug, keeps your coffee warm. Okay, how much was this kit? $15 US, maybe 17 including delivery. Okay, right. We'll have a look at the multimeter when we've built something to look at with it. Don't need any of that. Right, let's have a quick nosy at the tips that it's come with. So the standard tip, this thing has no sleep, by the way. So the standard tip is this massive, boy here, just this massive point, a stabber. That is going to be fine for through hole, if I'm honest. I'm going to start with that because it's the default tip, but I'll show you the other ones that we've got available here. Let's actually just punch the camera down so I'm not having to hold things up. Ooh, change cameras. We nearly punched in on my face then. Bam. Okay, so okay, so we've got a massive knife edge there, and that would, if we're going to use a big tip, that would probably be my weapon of choice. I'm a big knife edge fanboy, and this one is huge, but that's also fine. It still gives you a nice sharp flat to work with, and that makes it easy to apply heat to a join. So I'm a big fan of the knife edge. We've got what looks like a D24 here. And this D24, it looks kind of blobby. I think that's going to clean up on first use. I think that has been tinned. And I think the first time we use that, that will actually sharpen up. So yeah. Then we've got a sharper point. I'm not a fan of conical tips. So I don't really care for this one or the default one, but it's there, fine. Then we've got a BC1, I would call that. So that is a, I can't remember what you call this. No, I suppose that's conical, isn't it? I can't remember. Yeah, anyway, that's bigger than a BC2. A lot of people really like this style of tip because it gives you a nice flat to work with, but it's got a sharp edge. But it's got no, I don't know, I don't get on with it. Beveled, yeah, I don't get on with beveled if I'm honest, so yeah, that one's a good one for tinning and exposed traces. That would make sense, so yeah, that exists and it works. And the other one, here's the one that I'm excited about. We've got a J-tip. Sorry about the siren in the background. So yeah, we've got a J-tip there, and that looks like a pretty decent J-tip to me. And I think that will actually be pretty decent for doing some basic SMD work. Because the knife edge, I think the knife here is just too big for SMD. But that, I think, will do SMD. So we're going to put that to the test as well. So yeah. Anyway, those are the tips we've got. And so that's the contents of the kit. Caradox security, yeah, maybe. Right, let's pull the camera back out a little bit. So, those are the toys we've got available to us. I'm going to try and do some soldering with it, and I will give you some commentary on the soldering. So again, for those of you who've just joined in, the purpose of this is we're not here to clown on this. We're here to find out if this kit is actually usable in any kind of meaningful way. Because while I'm sitting on this view as well, I'm going to just punch in on my face again. Boff. Hello there. There we go. The objective here is to find out if the kit is actually usable. Like if a DIYer joins the Slime VR community and is like, I want to build my own slime body trackers, and I need to buy a soldering iron kit, and I found this cheap one on AliExpress, can I use this? Snobs would turn around and be like, no, that's a fire hazard, it's not going to work. I don't know. Let's find out. So, here we go. So, hello, Paul. You just joined. Please explain everyone again. Paul, I bought the cheapest soldering kit on AliExpress. Look at this masterwork of a soldering iron. It's beautiful. It peaked at 120 watts. So yeah, no, because it's not the cheapest. It's the cheapest entire kit. Like, I could buy the soldering iron on its own and it would be even cheaper. But as a full kit that came with some tweezers, a multimeter, some solder, you know, an actual kit, you know. So yes. All right, let's see. So I'm going to pick out some stuff to build. Let's see, I'm going to build, let's just build one of these. And I'll get the, I'll just quickly get my vise, because then I can give you guys a steady view of what's going on. Where is the vise? It's never visible when I'm live. If I'm doing repairs in the shop, it's visible. Okay, I found it. Panic over. I've also got to fix that Pinesil. I've got a new screen for the Pinesil screen that I butchered. Do you dare me to try and do it with the cheap soldering iron? I think actually that would be a good test. I need a knife. What do you got there? A knife! No! Huh. I would check to see if the 350 is actually 350. Yeah, there we go. There's our little OLED screen for the Pinesil. You dare me to heck up another screen? Well, they weren't expensive. It was like £4. Okay, right. Let's do this first. Right, let's start out with some basics. Easy stuff, through hole. So I'm gonna get a couple of diodes and a resistor, and we're just gonna do some through hole stuff with this and just see how it goes. No Hal sensor for the other iron? No, I don't have anything. The only way that we can really test temperatures is just by seeing at what temperature the solder will melt at. So we can try that. My God, this cable length is actually going to be a problem. Have I got... I tell you what, I'm just going to get an extension lead because I can't actually work with this cable length. I was thinking when we got to it that I would survive, but I won't survive. And I know where I will have an extension lead. There's one here in the kitchen. Welcome back to the kitchen, everyone. Bang. Oop. Put that there. Oh my God, I hate everything about this. Okay, I think that'll work. See, this one heated up in about 10 seconds or 2 seconds, Paul. it was terrifyingly fast, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of scary how fast that heated up. It's also worth noting that this section is too hot to hold. That is, the grip is still comfortable. It's warm, but it's still comfortable. That part is too hot to hold, which is a bit concerning. So yeah, get the thermal camera. No, the thermal camera won't be able to see temperatures that high. Right, solder. Let me grab some known solder. Oh my God, sorry, I keep having to grab things. You never know what you're going to need until you're already live. Right, let's get... So this is a known leaded solder. Okay, right. How low will this go? How low can you go? Oh, 180 is the minimum. Okay, and it's probably going to take it quite a while to come down to that point. Okay, that's not going to work. I'm not going to bother testing the temperature. I'm just going to set it to 350 and see how it feels. Realistically, temperature accuracy isn't super important. It's more valuable to have the skill to know whether you need just simply more heat or less heat when you're working anyway. So yeah, I would take that with a pinch of salt. I think it's some very specialist industries when you actually need to know what temperature, the true temperature you're at. Okay, right. Where's the end of this solder? Help me. Okay, I found it. Right. An hour into the stream, and we're going to do something. So I'm going to put a resistor there, and I'm going to put a couple of diodes in. I'm going to punch down a bit more as well. That's the wrong one. There we go. One diode. Two diodes. Right, so usually when people do really bad soldering, the issues they're having are that they have done cold joints, or just the solder is just blobbed up and has not flowed for various reasons. So I want to see whether that is a skill issue, or whether whether it's an issue with a poor quality iron and poor quality solder. So here we go. We're at 350. We're doing through holes, so 350 should be completely fine. Here goes nothing, everyone. So let's just try and heat that. Okay. Right, the iron does work. Oh, wait, I've got to use the sponge. Got to use the sponge. Sponge. Let's try that again. Bueller. Bueller. Holy shit. Okay, there we go. Right. Okay, we got it. I was too close to the tip. Needed to back up a little bit to find the heat then. Snort up those wholesome fumes. Right. I'm just going to punch in real close just to... We're going a little bit grainy because we're at maximum zoom here and I can't be bothered to lower the camera. But I just want to see if you guys can actually spot what's going on there. Tin the tip. Yeah, I'll tin the tip a bit more. I don't think it needs doing, to be honest. The tip is clean. All right. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, wow. This bit here is so bulbous that it's hard to get the tip flat. Yeah, look, the actual tip is cold. But if I pull back a little bit, we can find some heat. But it's not putting heat into the join very well. Oh, wow, that's cold, man. That's just cold. That's just non-functional. Okay, so let's see if we can solve this with more heat. Right, we're getting interesting results here. I'm going to lower the camera to give you guys a better view because this is genuinely interesting. This is kind of what I wanted to see. We're actually getting a fault. If I just had no issues, that actually would have been kind of boring. Right, hold on. Repositioning. This allows me to just pull back a little bit. And whoop. There we go. Right, you guys should have a little bit more quality now. Why buy cheap crap? Because people don't want to spend money on tools. If you're a hobby and you want to make a single thing, does the cheapest iron actually function? You know, or is soldering a skill issue? Yeah, that's terrible, man. Caradog, is that you?
No.
I can't believe this. He said no.
You're actually being robbed.
I know. I'm being robbed. Okay, right. Let's try and crank the temperature then. So let's go up to 380. Actually, you know what? Leroy, let's go. No, 380, 380. We shouldn't need 400. Right, it's flashing, so I assume that means, there we go, changing temperature. So let's try going up a little bit. Okay. If we linger a little bit to get some heat in. Right, let's put that down and inspect the join. Yeah, that looks like the kind of hack job that I've seen amateurs in Slime VR Discord do. It's on, but it's not a good join, man. You know, that's not pretty. Like, that's an electrical connection. It's going to work, but that ain't pretty. You need flux. We don't have flux. We have the cheapest kit on AliExpress. This is, remember, this... I could, you say you need flux. Yeah, I could also just get a good soldering iron that's on the bench over there, but that's not the point of the experiment. The objective here is to find out if this kit is actually usable. So, at the moment, that's basically kind of not working. I'll crank it up to 400 and see if it can do anything at 400. Man, that tip is not holding up, man. I'm going to retin the tip and see if that recovers. Hello, Pianov. Feels like watching myself from 10 years ago when I thought I was very bad at soldering. That's the point. Exactly. That's exactly the point. Someone buys this soldering iron and is doing this, and they're like, what's wrong? What am I doing wrong? The iron's crap. The iron's garbage. That's actually the problem. Yeah, I'm going to try the other tips in a minute. So yeah, the thermal camera image won't show anything. You'll just see a big old flare. Right, I'm going to retin this, see if we can recover that tip. Okay, right. Retinning that's come good. Right, I'm going to try the other side now. So we're going to heat the join, push some solder in. It's still just not hot enough, man. There's no heat. There's no heat. Okay, right. I think I got something on there then. Right. Your mic is in the thing.
Hello.
Right. We shall switch over to the other camera. Is it on?
Once I've turned it on. I may have microphone. Hello.
Yes, we have a Caradog mic. Put it to max temp. Let's see how high it'll go. Hang on. Oh, that's kind of scary. It goes to 480. Sure. Let's see what happens at 480. One of the next things I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try using this tip with my solder. Because what that is going to tell us is whether we're having problems with the iron or whether the solder is garbage. And that will be extremely interesting. Iron is crap, tip is crap, I'm pretty sure the solder is crap too. This is true. This is true. Oh man, look at the tip. Oh, the tip is not happy. Let's re-tin that again. Okay. Right, I'm going to try and reflow that. Oh, the tip is just roasting. And, yeah, it's a mixture. All right, we've got heat now. I actually think we might be too hot. Okay, I'm going to back that off. I'm going to back off to 450. Right, I'm backing off to 450. Because, yeah, we're actually running too hot now. That's kind of wild that it goes that high. Right, what was that last joint that I did look like? Pretty much the same. It's blobby, and it looks like a hack job. All right. All right, stand by everyone. We're just going to come back to here. And let's go, bam. There he is. It's him. There's our boy. There's our man. Ah! Okay, right. And pow. All right. And hang on a sec. I'm going to go back to bench cam with face and go pow.
Ta-da.
Wah. Oh, I needed that one. There we go.
Hold on,
right.
that's the important one.
Chisel tip and your own leaded solder and it'll be more usable. That's my next prediction. Okay, right. Hang on a sec. I'm gonna do one more joint. So now I'm using my solder. So this is, oh, well, I'd say this is known good solder. I don't know what the hell this solder is. All I know is this is the solder that I use day in, day out, and it works. Make of that what you will. So.
It's known, at the very least.
Yeah. Oh, this poor tip. Okay, I'm going to tin it again. Like, I think we've established that this is not the kind of iron you would, like, if you're a hobbyist and you're going to do a soldering job more than one, oh my God, look at that tip. It's just insta died. This tip is done already. This tip is actually kill. I think it's because we're running too hot, but okay, let's back up a bit more. 420. Blaze it.
Yeah, white guys.
All right. Here we go. Right. Known solder. Oh, that's a good join. It's the solder.
What is this solder?
It's super.
Apparently it has flux in it.
2% flux, apparently, yeah. It is flux.
Have you actually found any real evidence of it having flux in it?
On account that it smokes, yeah. So firstly, the top left join there next to the BN, that's the one that I just did. That's fine. That's a good join. If you compare that to the one under it, it's the solder. The iron is obviously crap and the tip is crap, but the solder is the problem.
The setup also does me concern.
Don't worry about it. But just for context, everyone, the cable isn't long enough. I will not elaborate.
It's also just the fact that it's just like, oh yes, here is my 240 volt soldering iron.
Okay, here's another one. Right, bottom left, that's the good join that I just did. Look how the solder has flown straight through the hole. All the other joins I've done, the solder hasn't gone through the hole. Bottom left, top left is the good one. The other ones are the bad ones. Moves to bottom left. Look at that. It's the solder. Wow. This is the result that I wanted.
I'm so pleased.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
And you just can't quite hide it.
Yeah.
And you know.
This is exactly the testing that I wanted to see. So, like, yeah, again, this iron is pretty bad. The tip is mega dead already. We're going to try another tip in a sec. However, we've proven conclusively that this solder is garbage, actual trash. I guess we'll do another test with a good soldering iron, and we'll see if a good soldering iron can make up for it. But yeah. Okay, right, catching up on chat.
And also possibly filling in why do you have this thing?
All right, so I'll go again from the top super quickly. I'm just going to turn this iron off. I'll just turn the temperature right down. It doesn't have a sleep, so you know.
But yeah, but its cable's so short you have to unplug it.
Yeah.
It's a feature, not a bug.
All right. Okay, so this is the cheapest soldering kit on AliExpress.
Right. Oh, I see.
It
So
costs...
soldering irons, solder, tweezers.
Yep. There's a natty little multimeter
really?
there.
Oh, that's not bad.
It was $16.70.
I see.
US dollars. And like you could buy just the iron on its own for even less than that, but I wanted to buy the kit so it would come with like a solder sucker, some solder, the multimeter and stuff like that, because we get people on the Slime VR Discord who have come in and they want to make their own slime trackers. And they go, I need to buy a soldering iron. Is this okay? And they link to one of the cheap AliExpress kits because that's where they're getting the rest of their stuff from. And everyone goes, oh no, that's crap. Oh no, that's no good. But I turned around and said, I don't know, has anyone tried it? You know, like, is soldering a skill issue? You know? And so, yeah, that was the question. Is soldering 100% a skill issue? No, it's not, says Duma. Have you tried a kit like this?
Have you replaced an SMD capacitor on a PCB with your grandfather's soldering iron?
Yeah.
It's 6 inches long and made of wood.
Like, again, it doesn't take a genius to know that good tools are going to be better. But does the cheapest tool work? You know, the cheapest
It gets hot.
the cheapest electric drill you can buy will put a hole in a wall. It might only do it once, but it'll do it, you know. Whereas, so, however, we discovered that the cheapest solder that money can buy can't even solder a diode to a through-hole PCB. That's literally not fit for use. It doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. It's non-functional. So that is the key bit of information. Okay, right. So I'm gonna quickly grab. I'm gonna put this nonsense to one side a sec, and, and I'm gonna quickly grab a good soldering iron.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Yeah, actually, let's use the Pinesil doesn't have a screen on it yet, but I can use it blind.
Doesn't have a screen on it due to reasons we will not go into.
Yeah. Let's see.
There will be no elaboration.
I'm going to unplug my microphone. I forgot to charge the mics.
Oh.
Hence why I have a 20. Well, sorry, I have a 90 watt hour power bank in my pocket.
You're not just pleased to see me.
Yes, someone already made that joke. You're late.
Yes.
Okay, right. Wait till you try the solder sucker. All noise and very little suck. Yeah, we'll see.
Anyway.
Hi, Caradog. How are you? Slurps noisily. Right. Could be worse. Remember the old lighter gas-powered ones? I had a friend who had a gas-powered soldering iron, and I sort of picked it up and sort of toyed with it and was like, neat, that's kind of cool, I guess, because it was just slightly too early for the electronic irons. But I didn't have enough soldering experience to actually be able to do any kind of judgment on if it was useful or not. My main understanding of those is just you have zero temperature control. The temperature is just, it's whatever. So that's the problem, is there's just absolutely no consistency with temperature. Okay, right. Let's do, so, good iron. I'm just going to quickly check that this thing is actually up to temperature.
I'm just going to quickly check that this even works.
It is. Right, cool. So, good iron, crap solder. Let's go. No. No. It's... My God. I've no idea what temperature I'm running at because this is the pine sol with the window. However, I've got a screen for this. We're going to fit it later on this stream. Right, let's just unplug that for a sec. And I'm going to assume that didn't flow. No, once again, it has not flowed through the hole. That joint is no bueno. It's got an electrical connection, but it hasn't flowed through the hole, so that's no bueno. So yeah, this solder is literal trash. This solder is actual trash. Okay, one more test. I'll try adding more flux to the solder. It says it's fluxed, but if we added more flux, would that help it? Let's find out. I'm going to... I tell you what, I'm just going to trim out. Oh, this isn't going to work. Can I desolder this? Let's find out.
That's not the information I was looking for. I was looking at what temperature butane burns at, and I got back a result initially of 3,000 degrees, and I was just like, that would be no use for soldering.
No.
But no.
Oh, are we... I don't even know if this is up to temperature or not. It is. Okay. Yep, it's not the iron, it's the solder. This is not the... Okay. Oh, it's terrible, man. Okay, let's pull back slightly because I'm losing heat through the vise. This is actually awful. How about fit the screen now so you can use it? That would be a good idea, if I'm honest. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I might start.
No. You are legitimately, with those gas soldering irons, legitimately just using a flame of nearly 2,000 Celsius.
Damn. Yeah.
So you basically just have to vent like 1,700 Celsius to actually be able to solder with it.
Right, adding... This isn't really a fair... I might get an empty board in a sec, because I can't be bothered to clear these holes properly. I'm just adding some flux and seeing if this solder comes to life.
Insert Evanescence here.
Bring me back to life.
Can't wake up.
Save me. Oh, my days, no. No, no, no. Flux doesn't help. It's just bad solder. We're done with the solder. The solder is not fit for purpose. Garbage.
Smashes into 4 pieces. Damn it.
All right. Let's pull back slightly. Ba-ding. All right, I'm going to pause and drink coffee and catch up on chat. Okay, right. So, the solder is literally not fit for purpose. If someone bought this kit and had the kind of time that I just had, like imagine you're trying to solder for like the first time. And actually, we should have you have a go with all of this stuff in a minute.
Sure.
Because that would also be interesting. because like you've soldered before, but like, you know, you're.
I have successfully through holes.
So yes. All right. So what if we had good solder then? So right. Was there any other tests I was going to do with this tip? I don't think so. I think we know that this tip is kind of crap, and also we've just roasted it. So let's put on another tip, and we're going to start working with good solder now, because we've established that the other solder is just not fit for purpose.
Is this hot?
Well, it's been off for a while, so I figured it probably wasn't, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, I'm just going to take this moment just to show something else as well. It's good to know, but, you know, let's see. Let's bring that back in. Bench cam. All right. So this is a good opportunity just to point out different types of iron tips. There is two main types. You have heater in handle and heater in tip. This is heater in handle. If I unscrew that collar there, we take that off, and there's our soldering iron tip, and there's the heater itself. So the heater kind of just has to, you know, friction fit on there. It's a really poor transfer of heat. It's really bad. It's one of the reasons why you seem to need astronomical heat temperatures, because, you know, this says it's running at 420, but like we're probably only getting like 380 at the tip or something like that. You know, that's the gist of it. The other type, which any good iron will have these days, is something like this, where the heater is in the tip itself. The heater is physically integrated into the tip. And so that means because it's integrated, you get far more heat at the actual tip. It's much more accurate. And it also means that when you change the tip, you're changing the heater as well. So, you know, like if this heating element is goosed, then the iron is dead. Whereas with this one, whenever you change the tip, you're putting a different heater in as well. So yeah, that's another thing that's worth noting as well, is just my general advice is to stay away from irons that have this kind of design. I'm not saying that good ones don't exist. You know, there's going to be someone out there who's got some old ass Weller that uses a style like that, and they're going to be like, my Weller works fine. Yeah, it probably does, but also it's a Weller or a JBC, you know, kind of different. So yeah. All right, so what are we going to try next, folks? What tip do you want to see next? Are we going to go with the D24 wedge, or are we going to go with the knife edge? Chisel. Katrina says chisel.
Huh.
All right. First answer is the taken one. Huh?
Apparently, Miniware have come out with a new one, which is the TS101, which is like £42.
It has to be to compete with the Pine Sol.
Yeah, but just like interesting.
I'm assuming it's a TS100 with Type-C power delivery. Because that's the only disadvantage of the TS100. It doesn't have Type-C.
Guess what? It's got Type-C.
Yeah. Like, so it's a case of, okay, that's kind of interesting. That means the TS100 is relevant now. But yeah.
Or the 101.
Oh, sorry, the 101, yeah.
Yeah, they've also just made it thicker and angulier.
Oh, yeah. Don't know about that. Right.
Question on a product which is a soldering iron. What is the product's function? To output power of 65 watts.
I see.
What is my function? You passed the ketchup.
Let's see. Okay, I'm going to put this board to one side and get a fresh board out. I can desolder all of this nonsense later and clean up these boards for reuse, but I'm not gonna do that right now on stream. Okay, right. Okay, I'm gonna put a resistor on. and then we'll get Caradog to try the crap solder and the good solder. And Caradog can be our control test. Right. Let's do a heat up test.
Does it heat up?
Well, how long does it take to heat up, basically? Oh, we're at 180. Hold on.
180.
And still flashing, flashing. All right, yeah. It shows you set, not get, but I don't know. That heat up time seems fairly reasonable, not that we're gauging it. Right, okay, I'm going to start this, let's tin the tip. And I'm going to start it at 350 because we're doing through-hole components. We should be able to do this at 350. Uh-oh. Okay.
What?
All right. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I think the tip was still warming up. Oh. There's no heat in the tip. There's zero heat in the tip. All right. Let's just go straight to 400.
Are you certain it's not fitted properly?
I'll just quickly.
In the sense of does it need a push? Oh, I see. It's the thing that makes the contact, just actually the collar.
Oh, sheesh.
Have you just undone the iron itself?
This bit started rotating then. I'm just going to leave that as it is for now.
Help me. I've undone my soldering iron.
Okay, right. At 400, we've actually got some heat in the tip now. This is Grandpa's mystery solder. Yeah. There we go. Okay, it's working now. Yeah, we've got heat. It's functional. Okay, right. So, all right. D24 wedge, good solder, 400 degrees C. Oh my God, this chisel is like a sledgehammer. That's unusable. Huh? This is not usable. It's just.
What the hell is that?
Look at the flat on the end of it.
Where's the rest of it?
Yeah. Okay, right, hang on a sec. Let me zoom down so you can see the problem. So if we zoom down on the thing to solder, you see the problem here. But yeah, okay, let's just try it anyway. Okay, well, got to use the sponge. The sponge is what we have. It's starting to annoy me because the sponge doesn't get all of the flex off, but it's working. Right, did that join flow? Yeah, that's passable. Okay. That's possible. It needed some more solder. I needed to put more solder in that, but that's completely passable. I would not bother redoing that.
Huh. I didn't realise you can buy a Pine-Sol V2 for $26.
Yes. Yeah. It's the delivery prices and times that catch you out with the Pine-Sol. Okay, that's for big components. Yeah, go for the knife tip. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I think we're abandoning the chisel. The chisel looks like a D24, but it's too big. It's just way too big. All right. Speed cooling. You can't do this with brass wool. This probably ruins the tip, but I don't care. I just want it to cool down faster so I can take it off. All right. Let's see if I can remove this tip without breaking the iron now. It's not how big, but how you use it. This is true. It's the D48, I see. Knife edge. Is the knife edge actually any better? Yeah, actually. The knife edge has actually got a sharp edge on it. Like, I'm not going to say that that's sharp, but at least it actually has a flat. It actually goes down to a point, whereas that wedge was just, yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's handleable. Hello?
So the pine tool is $26.
Yes.
The shipping on the pine tool is $65.
Yes, that's the problem with the pine saw.
Huh?
Yeah.
How? I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think ordering to an address in the middle of Poole is a remote location.
Yeah. Are you on the China or EU store?
I was on whatever the first result searching on Google in the UK is.
Yeah. They have an EU store, which will probably give you much more agreeable shipping and stuff, but also
Yeah.
it will be more expensive there.
I also just like the fact that it said that we won't calculate VAT or shipping costs or import costs. These are your responsibility. And I'm like,
Oh.
okay, so in other words, you're failing to do your job as a
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah. That's not great.
How can you not calculate the shipping cost?
Yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, right. 400 again.
For maximum fun, try to solder without a tip.
All right, I'm gonna start at 350 again, because again, one more time for the people in the back. This is through hole. We should be able to operate at 350 here. We should not need 400. Although the problem is we're not even getting, this is set, we're not even getting this temperature is my belief. So like we're probably closer to 300 at the tip. So yeah. Okay, right, I'm going to do this other side and then we're going to swap over. Hey, that works. It wasn't great. I would turn the heat up a little bit. However, it flowed through the hole, and we've got a good-looking join.
Does
Yeah.
this kit have a humorous name attached to it?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Afraid not. Yeah, okay. The knife feels good. The knife feels good. All right. Okay, so, right, I'm going to swap places. And we're going to do a control test. So you've got a good tip. I'm going to jump that up to 380 because that does need a bit more heat. So we've got a good tip. I'm going to give you the crap solder, and you can see if you.
Thanks.
Yeah, and we're just going to make sure that you agree that that solder is just unusable, and then, well, basically, you can then compare and react to the difference between worthless solder and functional solder.
Yes.
So yeah. All right. If they didn't give you flux paste in the tin, they ripped you off. This is through hole. You shouldn't need flux. Like when you're doing SMD, yeah, you add flux, but for through hole, you shouldn't need flux. The flux in the solder should be completely adequate. Like this solder, I'm not adding any flux to this. It works just fine. I mean, obviously it's pre-fluxed, but you shouldn't need to add flux on through hole.
Can you get non-fluxed solder from a reputable brand?
You probably
So,
could.
like-
You probably could, because there's probably some niche use cases where you don't want flux.
So
I don't know what they are, but
so even like the low melt solders you get and things like that are still fluxed.
yes, any solder, any standard solder should be fluxed.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That was kind of I was
Yeah.
like, oh, including the slightly specialist
Yeah.
stuff. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. Apologies in advance for the cable. You'll have to just figure that out. Maybe I'll just do that. That kind of works. Okay, right. I'm going to go and rescue the crap solder that I threw away earlier on.
I don't want you.
Oh, I did actually break the spool.
Yes.
Took a chunk out the spool, so, you know. All right.
Watch out, there's a soldering iron.
Okay, right. I'll mount that up and
Yes.
do that. All right, so the bit that you're going to do
I'm immediately going to take this completely off of where you've just done.
Oh, okay, yeah. Put it to where you want it.
I want it there.
That's fine, yeah.
Because...
Hold on, everyone.
We're going on a magical adventure.
Other way. Okay. And just, yeah. All right, that's good enough. That's good enough. We can work with that. All right. So, I want you to take these two diodes, or just one of them first, bend the legs, so bend them as close to the diode body as you can to 90 degrees, and then stick it in the board with the... Where
did you go? Oh, there.
And then put it in the board with the stripe lined up with the stripe.
Okay.
Caradog does know how to solder.
Well.
Yeah, it's just you.
No.
You've done it a couple of you've done it like once or twice on stream, like when we've been tinkering with mice before and stuff like that. However, we would certainly class you as inexperienced per se. So this should be.
I was going to go for a different I word there. Mostly incompetent.
So I think this will be highly instructive of you finding out what bad solder feels like.
Yeah, because the last time we did stuff, it was through-hole stuff on the mice, just with the big buttons.
Yeah. So now, so we're starting out on the crap solder, and you're going to have a terrible time. Let's see how you do. You know what? I'm tempted to say turn it up to 400 just preemptively, because I know you're just, well, yeah, it's up to you. So you're gonna, hold the knife edge against the join to heat it, and then push some solder between the two. Try going to 400 on the iron. Oh yeah, it's just not enough heat. Yeah, try turning it up. What did I put it at? 380.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to 400.
Oh, there we go. It actually melts now.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay.
Or not.
Yeah. All right. Go to the good solder. I think that proves it. Yeah. Oh, he's going for one more try. One more try.
You would give up.
Yeah.
You would just give up.
Yeah. Imagine you're a hobbyist. This is your first attempt at soldering. You've bought yourself a soldering iron kit on AliExpress, and you're trying to solder for the first time. And yeah, this is the experience you're having. Now switch to the good solder and see what happens.
Fine.
Also, I'm not going to lie, please don't leave the solder just wrapped around the extension cord. Thanks. I know we're not exactly in health and safety situation right now, but...
Right.
Yeah, pull off some more slack if you need it.
Oh, look, it melts.
There we go. And try and get the other side as well.
Yeah, it melts. Whatever next?
Look at that. You're just feeding it in and it just melts. There we
Yeah.
go. Cool. All right, so clean the iron and put the iron down, and then we'll just quickly inspect those. So the acid test is to see if the solder has flown all the way through the hole to the other side. You've got to use the sponge. Good enough.
Oh my God, come off. Oh,
it's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit blobby, but also you had some of the crap stuff mixed in. You could clean that up by reflowing it if you cared. But the point is, the solder has gone through the hole, which means it's not a dry joint.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It did it.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. So I think what we've discovered here, and also the other thing as well, is that. All right. The tip is tarnishing. Can you just hold that under the camera so we can look at the tip? You might have to just put your hand behind it to get the focus to rack in. Yeah, the tip is tarnishing. So again, the tips are crap. We can.
It's also just not very straight.
Yeah, we can tin it again, and that will clean up, but we're still working with a rough
Can
tip.
we though?
Yeah,
I still enjoy the fact that if you're just like, this is all you had, you'd just be like,
yeah,
what's going on here?
that's it. We can clean the tip, but like... You're going to have to clean the tip and re-tin it every single use. Whereas, a good iron tip, I can pick it up and put it down and do multiple joins. I could do most of this tracker without having to clean the tip of the iron. Whereas that one, you've got to clean it literally every single use for it to be functional. Okay, so the iron is bad, but it does work.
You just need actually half decent solder.
The solder
melts.
The solder is literally not fit for purpose. Even when we racked up the iron to maximum, to the point where the tip was literally charring before our very eyes, the solder was still not flowing.
Yeah. That difference, though, just swapping to this stuff and just being like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was...
startling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not expect the difference to be that big. When I was on the Slime Discord discussing this, when I was saying, here's what I'm going to do, people were saying, oh, it's going to be the solder. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I think any junk solder will work. I think it's a skill issue. I need to go back there and say, you know what? I owe you a Coke. Because, that solder is literally not fit for purpose.
Impressively awful.
Unusable. Yeah. It is unusable. Yeah, that's amazing. I can't express how surprised I am at that result.
I find it so strange that it's possible for it to just not melt properly.
Yeah.
Because, that's really easy. You add heat to metal, it gets soft. So, what the hell is the melting point of this? Yeah.
The next thing I kind of want to do is, because I've no idea what the makeup of that solder is. I don't know if it's leaded, unleaded. I have no idea. I might buy some good quality unleaded solder and see how that feels to use, because I think I've only ever used leaded, because just leaded for life. So I'm curious as to how unleaded solder feels, to see if I get any kind of similar vibes.
It's to be honest, just a spool of really shit aluminium.
Yeah. The only difference should be that unleaded you need to run slightly hotter, but leaded will melt all the way down to 150. It's just obviously you can't, if your iron is at 150, you can't get heat into the board because you're heat sinking.
But just getting the piece of solder and the iron and going.
Yeah. So theoretically, it shouldn't make a difference, but I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm trying to think of reasons as to why that solder isn't working.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is it possible also as well that this is actually only at 200 Celsius, even though it says 400?
It's not impossible. So
do we have any method of?
No. But what?
Because the thermal camera's maximum temperature is something like 150, isn't it? 160.
Probably, yeah. I wouldn't trust it to take accurate measurements in the triple digits, because that's just not what it's for.
No, absolutely. But I was just trying to think of stuff.
What we could do though is I could grab the other pine sol that has a working screen on it and bring that up to 150 and see if the good solder melts. Yeah. And then or actually the minimum on this was 180, and then we can run this at 180 and see if it can melt the good solder, and that should give us at least a rough idea. That should give us a rule of thumb check to see if we're in
at least 180.
Are we within 50 degrees of indicated? So let's try that. I'll grab the other pine sol that actually has a screen on it, so I can see what temperature I'm at.
Yeah.
Right, let's swap places again.
Change places.
Where did I put the behind me? There it is. Whoop.
Yes.
Da, 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 da. Whoop. Okay, right. So Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. Right, I'm going to set this to 150. I was going to start at 120 because I can't remember what the melting point of this leaded solder is. It's a lot lower than you'd imagine. I think it's going to be like 150, something like that. Hello, CMI Zapper. How you doing? How high do automotive type laser thermometers go? I have no idea. Okay, right. Let's move this out the way. Don't mind me. I'm going to carry on directing. Bench cam. I wonder what that was for a minute then. I was like, it's me holding the iron under the camera that I've just switched to. Right, I'm just going to straighten this camera out because we're at all kinds of a funky angle right now. All right.
It's not a life choice.
Right, so we're at 120 indicated. It's struggling to hold this temperature because it's really low, and the moment that it gives the slightest pulse to the heater, it overshoots. So, are we at melting point? No. Cool. Okay, so let's go to 140. Overshoot, overshoot. All right. 140-ish. Whoops, that was all completely off shot. Yeah, I think you guys are right. I think I was hilariously optimistic, and we need to be at like 170 minimum. Leaded is mostly 183. Okay, right, okay. I'm going to jump up to 170 then. 170.
Oh, it zooms in very small lumps.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Cross-check tips with FLIR. Thermal camera can't measure temperatures like this accurately. Not mine, anyway. I can't remember what its maximum is. I guess we could check it just to satisfy people's curiosity. But the problem is, if you measure stuff that's too high, you can damage the camera. So I don't really want to put it to the test. So yeah. Yeah, we're still not at melt point. What if I just get a really good... Nope, okay, higher. And go to a 185. So this should put us within the right ballpark. Right. Overshoot, 185-ish. Here we go.
Oh, according to the specifications, they say it can do minus 20C to 500C.
Really?
For the P2 Pro.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
According to one seller on Banggood. I'm going to have a look and see what someone else says.
Yeah.
That one says 600.
What about the infrared website, if you can find it there? Nope, we're still not melting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they do actually have their own website.
Okay, I'm going to 200.
I incorrectly assumed they would be a no website kind of brand.
I know what you mean,
That
yeah.
wasn't actually a brand.
Oh, there we go. It's about to go, I think. This is taking a long... There we go. It's just going at 200 there.
Yeah, the infrared website says minus 20 to minus 600.
Okay, fair enough. Yep. Okay, I've just messed... Okay, right. Right, we don't need that anymore anyway. So I'm going to whack this up so I can clean the tip, because I've just messed up the tip. There we go. All right. That's better.
Do these
All right.
use different tips to the Aixon?
Yes, they do. All right, so 200 we decided on. So let's plug this bad boy back in. We're going to plug this bad boy back in, and we're going to set it to 200 and see if it can melt the thing.
Bang!
What are you searching for?
The P2. Oh no. That's the FLIR.
I think it's around the keyboard. It's yeah, to the left of the keyboard on the counter, on the bench there.
Oh, yes.
Right, we are at 200 indicated. Right, can this one do it? Yeah. Right, here we go. So, here's the test now, is this should be able to melt this at 200. And so based on how much higher we have to go, that should give us a rough back of a napkin estimate on what the offset is.
Oh.
Getting pretty much nothing there.
oh, there we go.
Oh, you've got the macro lens on, don't forget. Right, that's doing nothing. I'm going to 220.
How do you do the scale? There we go. Apparently it's 110.
There you go. 143?
143.
No, okay. It might be interesting to fire up the pine still in a sec.
Yeah, 130.
Yeah, it might be interesting to fire up the pine still and see what it says about that, because it looks like we actually do have... Okay, I stand corrected. It looks like we can measure it with the thermal camera.
Yeah, this seems to have a really high max temperature.
Nope, that's melting. Okay, right, that's melting at 220. So it's within... It's approximately within 20 degrees indicated. Like, we could pull that down to like 210 or something and start narrowing it down, but I think that's enough. We have established that it is approximately within 20 degrees or so. So the indication is not a million miles out. It's just the efficacy, how effective it is. Shiny object might not be measured correctly. That's a very good point. Yeah. All right. Iron isn't too bad, really. No. Like, I don't want to say that it's good, but the iron is functional. You know, whereas, yeah, the solder, that was just objectively a hard no. Okay, right, what next then? SMD. I'm going to try and see if I can do SMD work with this thing.
Yeah, do you want to plug the pine saw back in?
Oh yeah, to see if we can get a temperature measurement on it, sure.
Yeah.
Let's pull back out here. Whoop. Right, where are we going? 320. Right, so we're aiming for 300 here.
Oh, no, point. Yeah, based on this is 190.
Yeah, so it's not getting an accurate measurement. Again, that's probably partly because shiny surfaces and stuff like that. It might be getting like the tarnished area, but not the tip or something like. But then, like this whole area should be around that area, that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
Oh, did it not like that?
Yeah, it's burning protection.
Yeah. Nope. We're abandoning that immediately. Yep.
But also, it's cool that it.
I'm glad that it actually stepped in then and said, nope, that's too hot.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, it looks like that measurement, that looks like the specs are nonsense there. I had a suspicion that was the case because when I first got that, I was like sort of looking outside and in broad day, like direct sunlight and stuff like that, and it didn't like it. And like I did actually point it at the sun at one point, and it actually left a trail on the image that had burned in. And I thought I'd wrecked it. However, it recovered. After a while, it did actually recover, and the little trail is gone now. However, that's why I'm kind of protective of it, because burn-in is real. You will wreck. I'm looking at the wrong camera. You will wreck your thermal camera if you point it at hilariously hot things. So don't, basically. All right. Right, anyway. Okay, we're done with that. So, SMD. Let's see if we can do some SMD work with this. So, again, I'm not even going to bother with the crap solder. We've established that the crap solder is just not good. So now I want to know if the cheap tips can be used for SMD work. So I'm going to bust out one of these. So this is the PCB for for what's called the tiny slime. And for anyone who's I know I've bored you guys with slime VR stuff. I kind of get that. However, I am making another slime VR video because it's sponsored. And I'm going to be talking about lots of different slime designs. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, I am actually working on a video for it. I will not bore you with the details here, though, because there's a video in the works for that. And you can choose whether you want to watch that or not. Anyway, let's do that. Okay, right. Is that cold? It's cold enough.
It's cold enough. Ooh, 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 ooh.
That's still hot. Just look at the tarnishing on this, man. It's shit. It's okay. I will
Look
not.
at the tarnishing. My testicles.
That was silver. That was silver when we started. All right. Are you not entertained? Okay, right. What am I going to use? Actually, you know what? I'll keep this tip on actually, because the knife edge. I think the knife edge is actually good. I just want to know if it's too big. So you know what? I'm going to stay the course here. Let's actually get that clocked correctly. There we go. All thumbs today, maybe. Right. Get this cable sorted out. Okay. More tests engaging. So let's go to 400 because that's just what this iron needs, it seems. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start at 380. Right, 380. You should try the conical that every newbie uses. Okay, we'll try the conical as well in a moment. We've got quite a lot we can solder on this now, so right. So we're going to do some SMD work. So to do some SMD, we tin one pad and then put the component on. So let's just touch up that guy. This is the good solder, so we're not getting heat into the joint. Oh, there we go. Oh, it took it a while. Yeah, no, more heat. This thing says it's 80 watts. And this thing says it's 80 watts, and it peaked at 120 when I first plugged it in and turned it on. Also, just this tip might also be done because we've just got this tin spot on it. I'm going to see if I can recover this tip because I think this tip might have had it.
It was also just a case of it seemed to only get hot in the middle.
Yeah, I think this tip is actually kaput. It's not like I've been abusing it either. Yeah, no, that tip is hecked. No, that's done. That tip's done. Nope, that's crap. One thing I'd noticed, I didn't mention it, but this one didn't seem to have the same coating on it that the other tips have. If we look at another tip, like here's the conical, can you see how it's got that coating on the tip? The knife edge, you can just see a line there at the bottom of the coating. The knife edge didn't have that coating on it. It's just bare metal. And I think that's why it's just instantly killed. Cheap solder destroys tips, maybe? Yeah. Okay, right, we're coming off the knife edge is toast. I think there's no point in trying to struggle with that right now. Or, well, no, actually, no, sorry, indecision. I'm going to struggle on for science. I'm struggling on at 400 degrees. I'm going to see if throwing more heat at it will keep us going. Right, let's try and do another one. It's fine. I'm not going to lie, I'm abandoning the sponge. I've struggled on with the sponge. It's a pain. Right. Resistors. Oh, it's diodes I need here. Boop. Okay, right. Using the tweezers that came with the kit as well. Right, here we go. So I'm going to reflow and push that into it. So this is big SMD, but it's working. Do the other one. There we go. And I'll just get the other sides of those. This is totally working. Like, don't get me wrong, the tip is kind of roasted, but it's functioning. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, this tip is kind of toasted, but it works. It is working. That's a good join. That looks beautiful.
Like I bought one.
Like I bought one. Yeah. All right. Cool. Now, is this big knife edge too big for castellated joins? So,
what does that mean?
So castellated connections. Let me grab
one with castles.
Yeah. So castellated joins are something that looks like this. You see these bits down the side? These are called castellations. And this is what you do when you're doing a flush mounted join. So this, as you can see, this is an SMD board. It's all pads, no through holes. So that's going to sit on there like that. And we're going to put solder onto these pads, and it flows up into those little half moon castellations. So let's see how well that works with, and this is the point where I think this tip is going to be too big, but we'll put it to the test. Right. I'd still want a bit more heat in this. It's functional, yes, but it doesn't feel like I'm at 400. It feels like I'm at 350. Like, it feels like I'm being really gentle with the heat because I'm scared of killing something. Because that's the thing. A lot of people run hot because they're like, why wouldn't you run hot? If you can run hotter, why wouldn't you? It melts faster, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is when you're running really hot, you're vaporizing your flux and you're cooking your solder faster. You have less time when you run hot. You can go quicker, but also you need to go quicker. Whereas if you have less temperature, then you can just be more relaxed. You don't have to go fast, but also it means that you cannot go as fast. So you kind of get a feel for it. And right now we're at 400 indicated and it feels like I'm at 350. So yeah. Okay. At a certain temperature, you also risk delaminating the PCB. Yeah, this is true. You've got to go really high for that. Hey, Maya, by the way. You've got to go really high for that, but you know, it can happen. Right, let's try these. So I'm going to bump that into there. That's doing pretty good. That's flowing fairly nicely. Don't worry about how it looks now. We're going to reflow these anyway.
Yes.
All right. I like the knife edge. All right, can I reflow that? With the pine saw, I would just slide down here. I would just rake down there, and it would just cut through it like butter. Especially at 400. Like, yeah. Let's go to 420, because I reckoned we were about like 20 degrees out from indicated. So if I go to 420, blaze it, and it starts gliding, let's see what happens then. Depends on board quality. This is also true. Okay. Right, so that's had a little bit of time.
Also, which is where I knew the word from, castellations also means a property that has been made to look like a castle, but isn't a castle.
Ah, yes. It's probably because, like, if you look at it from a side profile, they kind of look like the walls of a castle.
Yes, they look like the crenellations on a castle.
Ah, okay. Right, we're at 420. Yes.
But that's the immediate confusion. Is like they look like crenellations on a castle, but they are castellations on a PCB because they make it look like a castle. Because castellation makes it look like a castle, but the castellation makes it look like a crenellation.
I don't know what I'm talking about right now, so I'm going to switch to something that I do know what I'm talking about with.
The missile knows where it is by tracking where it isn't.
Anyway, right, we're at 420 indicated, and it has warmed up a bit, but it's still like the pine sol doesn't go this high, and the pine sol would just be slipping through these joints by now. So yeah. Actually, let's just demonstrate that. So right now, let's just try and rake these joints. So I'm going to hold down there. And as you can see, those joints are not flowing as I try and rake back and forth. I'm just bouncing off of them there without actually melting them. So again, let's do a comparison. I'm going to get the pine sol with a knife edge on it.
Oh, apparently Infiray are now X-infrared.
I see. Fair enough.
But also, their website is still Infiray.
China.
It's like, okay.
Okay, right. Right, this is my old knife edge. This is kind of toasted, this tip. I'm going to brush this up and it will probably come good. So I'm going to go to 380 here on the pine sol. So we're going to 380. I'm going to clean up this tip a bit because this tip isn't in very good condition. Etymology with Caradog.
People who don't know the difference between etymology and entomology bug me in ways I can't put into words.
Right. There we go. Right, let's clean that up. Just get some solder on both sides.
It's a Moetto.
Sup, Dave Bob. Okay, yeah. This tip is in pretty bad shape, but it should function. Right, we're at 380 here. Watch this. Bam, look at that. And it's just gliding. You see how it's actually melting those joints the moment it touches them? And that's at 40 degrees indicated less. Even less than that because we're losing some heat into the board there. So you see the point? We were at 420 with the crap iron and we couldn't rake those joints. At 380, I can rake this and actually take it off the board. I would actually go a little bit hotter to get this, but if I just keep raking there... oh, I'm joined up here as well. That's not going to work. I'd need to get rid of this one down here, otherwise that's not going to come off. But you get the point. You get the point. It is functional, but you can see how we're not getting anywhere near the same kind of thermal delivery than we would get with a good iron. Different thermal capacity of the irons. Yeah, and like considering how much bigger the crap iron is, this is definitely a matter of heater in tip. The fact that this guy has the heater in tip means that it's just delivering more heat. So yeah. Okay. Right, I think we're done with the knife edge. I'm going to switch to the J-tip, and I'm going to try that guy out.
Is that not going to be hot?
It is kind of hot.
I'm pleased that you went for the equipment. I was honestly expecting you just to go, and then go, this is really hot, and I've burnt 4 of my fingers.
That's fine. The last burn that I put on my finger from grabbing the tip, that came off in the shower the other day. So I've got nice baby smooth skin on my middle finger now. So you know it's all fresh and prepared for a new burn, which I'm sure will come verbally from you in a moment.
Moving on. I was looking up a review of the InfiRay. InfiRay.
Yeah.
And as a part of it, as part of the comments on that, it's got detection range for deer and ducks.
I see.
And they're like, okay.
What angle do I want this at? It's really hard to clock the tip with these because when I tighten it up, it's going to turn again. Because what I like to do, I like to set my tip at a specific angle just so the way I'm holding the iron comfortably, it puts the tip at the right angle. But then when I tighten it, it's going to turn again. So it's just very difficult to get that right. All right, that's good enough. All right, let's heat this guy up. Bam. Right, let's go. I'm going to bring this down to 380 again because that's our start point. Anything below 380 is basically non-functional. Okay. Copper tips significantly improve cheap iron performance. Interesting. The problem is that by the time you're buying nice tips for your cheap iron, you could just buy a good iron and not have to buy fancy tips for it. That's kind of my take on that.
Open tabs. Hello?
All right.
There we go.
So, let's just tin this bad boy up. That feels like it's melting fairly well. I'm quite interested in this J-tip. Right, let's grab the resistors. Right, I'm going to punch down. Let's zoom. We're going to get a little bit grainy here, folks, so sorry about the loss in quality. Not bad considering how far I'm zooming, though. Zoom. All right, so I'm going to tin the pad.
Oh, apparently you can get 5 copper soldering iron tips for £1 off of AliExpress.
You know what? That's not a king's ransom. That's fair. I'm going to try the other tweezers because those angled tweezers are a bit leery for SMD stuff. Use these sharp boys. All right, so we're going to put, these are 1206, I think this size of SMD is. So this again is big SMD. However, again, is, you know, we're doing DIY level, you know, we're doing DIY and enthusiast level stuff here. All right, so with the J-tip, I can do that. That's what we like about the J-tip. We can just we can come in at an angle there. We're not worried about that whisker. We'll clean that up in a minute.
I'm trying to work out the question I'm asking. On the other style where the heater is in the tip,
Yeah.
is the entire J heated? Or is
No.
only the end of the J heated?
So the heater is basically up to like there, and past that point is just metal.
Oh, but all of the J should be operating
Yes.
temperature.
Yeah, the whole
Right, okay.
the whole thing should be hot. So yeah, likewise.
So you can just mash the side against it when you need a big area,
Yeah.
and poke the tip if you need a really small
Yeah,
area.
so if I just poke that with just the tip, it does get in there. Whoops. However, also, when I poke it with the tip, we've got a really small contact patch there. So even with a good iron, you're going to struggle just because small contact patch. So that's not wholly surprising. All right, I've got to put that boy back on now.
Ooh, what?
Okay. Right, I'm going to turn the board around because I can't get over the top of these diodes. Yeah, so people are saying, oh, those tips are really cheap and all the rest of it. It's like, okay, yeah, I agree. But I still feel like if you know that the tips are bad and you need to get good tips, even if it's cheap, just if you're trying to get a better experience, I still don't see why you wouldn't just buy a better iron. Especially because we've already proven by comparison how infinitely better the Pine Sil is. And the Pine Sil is still a hobby iron,
Yeah.
You can do professional level work with it, but I would still class it as a hobby iron, So we're not even comparing against professional tools here. We're comparing against hobby. So yeah. The Aixen that I use on my bench would annihilate both of these irons.
Yeah, certainly when you can get a TS101 for £35 off of AliExpress.
That's it. So you've got to ask yourself, what's your objective here? If your budget is literally zero, then okay, sure, you buy the cheapest that money can buy.
Yeah.
But if you're building Slime VR body trackers and you're like, I like building electronic stuff, I want to get into electronics as a hobby, and you're buying tools, if you're bothering to buy tools at all, you may as well spend $100 on a Pine Sil, some good solder, and a couple of other bits and pieces to improve your user experience.
What on earth is a C4 tip?
That's a conical, I think. I think it's a big conical.
Has it just got a hole in the middle?
I don't think so.
Huh.
It is. Where's the? It's like one of these, but larger, I think.
Oh, I see.
Because that's a BC.
Oh, it kind of, yeah, okay. From the picture on AliExpress, it looked like it just had a hole in the middle.
It might do something.
And I was just like,
a large one like that probably has a dip in it, which is called a well,
Yeah.
which is designed to hold some solder in it. Because there are certain instances where that helps you get it. Basically, it helps you get thermal delivery really fast by holding some solder on the iron. So yeah, right. Let's finish getting these guys on. So again, with the J-tip, as you can see, it's really easy to get the flat of the tip up against the back of the part. Oh, I'm struggling for temperature here. Am I? Yeah, we're still at 380 though. But you can see I've got no temperature. I'm just sinking. I'm on a ground plane here. Yeah, I'm struggling against that ground plane. Let's try this bit because this is not a ground. I'm working via a very zoomed in camera here. I'm trying not to stick my head under the camera. Yeah, I'm fighting that. I'm going up to 400. Go to 400.
so if someone were buying a TS101, Pine Sil, etc., what tip would you suggest they get with it? Would
TSKU, which is the knife edge.
Yeah.
It's one of these.
Well, the small knife edge.
Yeah.
Or the smaller knife edge.
Yeah. The smallest knife edge you can find for it, because you can't get really small ones. They just don't. I've just not found them.
Yeah.
Like the TSKU is supposed to be micro, but it's not really.
Is that a KU?
That's supposed to be a KU, but that's bigger than the one on my T3B. So I'm not sure why they define that as a KU, whereas this that bad boy is the non-KU. But as you can see, it's only slightly bigger, and I don't know. Either way, knife edge. That's my personal recommendation. The D24 is a really good all-rounder, but I think the knife edge does everything that the D24, which is a chisel, can do. So yeah.
What's the difference between?
That's supposed to be. Where's the?
Oh, I see. The chisel is literally just it goes to a flat point.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
That's a chisel.
Yeah, whereas
basically.
that's a chisel at
angle,
45 degrees sort of thing.
And that one also just actually has a sharp. That actually has it goes to a point kind of thing. So yeah. All right, so we're now at 400. So let's see if we're still fighting this ground plane.
It's kind of impressive the
No.
kits they do, just where you get a tip, the charge of a cable and so on, and it's like £45.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sticking to it. You know it's bad when the iron is sticking. Also notice that the moment I went to 400, we've started ruining the tip. No chisel tip. Yeah. Why no giant flood of flux? Because that's not the point of the exercise. However, I might add some flux.
Would you need? I presume you wouldn't need to flux if you were using the pine saw.
No. Like, the thing at the moment is where I'm having to attack this joint multiple times, I'm starting to cook the solder. So the solder is getting claggy and sludgy because all of the flux has burnt off.
Yeah.
So I could add flux here and recover this, but let's just see. I've just gone up to 400 and let's see what happens. And as you can see, I've had to add heat because I don't have enough heat, and now I'm roasting the tip again. I'm stuck in this loop of needing more heat, and by the time I put in enough heat, I'm killing the tip. So I'm stuck in this vicious cycle. All right, we've got enough heat now. That solder is kind of cooked, but it's passable. That's all right. I'm gonna cool that down just because I know I'm killing the tip. And let's just inspect that. Those are passable. I'm not going to say they're pretty, but they're passable. So let's try the J-tip on castellations. You'd have to bump the heat and then drop it again. Yeah, this is the thing and because this iron doesn't have any kind of sleep mode, see, sleep mode means that you don't need to worry about leaving it at a roasting temperature. And the other thing to keep in mind as well is that one of the, a lot of electronic irons, including the Pine-Sol, they have a party trick called boost mode. And that means in boost mode, you hold the tip and you hold the button down and it will boost up to a high temperature, and then when you release it, it comes back down to the set temperature. So if you hit a ground plane and you suddenly go cold, you can boost to push through the ground plane and then release when you're off the ground plane again. And that is and this again is a very useful tool when you're struggling for heat because you've got a small iron, you know. Or again, with big professional irons like the Aixon, you've got 90 watts on tap. So you just push through it. You don't need to boost because it just goes, ha 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 ha, 90 watts goes brrr. However, with the small iron, you don't have 90 watts. You've got maybe 65 watts, so you have to boost. Do not hold the tip. Yes. All right. Right. Okay. Where are we at? We're at 300. Let's come back up to 420.
If you get one of the really cheap soldering irons, you also just have a 3 kilowatt soldering iron for about 4 seconds. Boom!
You just thermite the solder joints, you know.
The soldering iron just falls apart.
Do you remember when Tom bought a hot air gun that was just all in handle and it just melted in his hand the first time he used it? Nuts.
Blower in hand. Blower in hand.
That's kind of not working. I'm using the flat edge to get heat in, and the problem we've got is the actual end of the J-tip just isn't getting heat to it. It's only the middle of the tip that's actually delivering any kind of meaningful heat. Yeah, we're kind of just sinking the heat here. This isn't really working. The knife edge was coping. This is not coping. I'm stuck. Yeah. And we're at 420. That's at 420. All right, so let's just try and reflow those because we put some solder there. Stuck again. Yeah, there's no thermal mass in this tip. I can add more solder because adding solder is thermal mass, and that can help. But yeah, this isn't. I'm stuck again. Yeah, that's not working. And like, I'm not going to put any more temperature into this because we're already roasting the tip. You shouldn't need 400. 420 is obscene. 420 is a meme. You know, like, just for the laughs, what if I just go flux? Now, if you see the flux just explode, that's because we're too hot. It will boil, but still.
You will be boiled.
Okay, the flux is helping, but it's not making it any hotter. We're still too cold. We're still too cold. It can't do it. It can't do it. Yeah, the J-tip is no bueno. I'm sad. I really liked the look of that J-tip. Yeah. So the knife edge, which we insta roasted, where's it gone? There it is. The knife edge that we insta roasted has actually been our best bet so far. I'm going to switch back to that and try and reflow those joins.
Please don't touch the tip with your hand.
Can't believe you think I'd do such a thing.
I'm just ensuring that you don't.
I thought I was picking up the tip. It's fine. It's fine. Hasn't even charred the tip. Damn it. See, you wouldn't have this problem with a pine sill because it's cartridge. What am I going to do? Wait 15 minutes for it to cool down?
No, use the water.
I don't think that was actually very effective, if I'm honest.
Just kind of go.
Oh, we've already left a black mark on the collar from pressing it into the sponge. All right. J-tip seems to be more decorative than functional. Certainly in this instance, J-tips can be very useful for precision work, but that one just doesn't have the thermal mass. All right. I'm going to drop to 400 on the knife edge and see if that flows it. Heating. All right, we have heated. Right, so 400. Okay, it says it's up to temperature. It's not up to temperature. That needs more time. I think that's the other thing. Like, it looked like it had heated up really fast, but actually it hadn't. The actual like temperature reading is meaningless.
Oh, it's smoking now.
Yeah, it's probably just because it's got some flux on it.
Does that mean it's up to temperature? When soldering iron emits smoke, correct temperature obtained.
Just going to try and clean up the tip a bit more again. No, I think that tip is unrecoverable.
Related searches to TS
Fine.
101. Dental floss.
I see.
I see.
There we go. So I can just step through these now. It's slow, but it's doing it. It's doing it badly, I might add. We still don't have enough heat. I'm going to give it more time. It was doing something. It was working better, but it's still not hot enough.
Still doesn't seem to be great.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba. So, okay, so we're kind of memeing on that. I want to actually start drawing some conclusions here, is that I think we're kind of proving here that the iron is functional, but it's still a really poor user experience.
Yeah.
You can make it work. Like the solder, we established that there is no planet where this thing works. This solder just doesn't actually work. Like, even if you like, I know what is wrong when I'm doing this. I know when we're too hot, too cold, etc. So I can interpret what's happening here, and with that knowledge, I can tell you that that solder literally doesn't work. The iron does work, but you need to know what you're doing to actually use it. If you're an amateur, you don't know when you're too hot or too cold, you know.
Yeah.
So like even with the knowledge in mind of knowing how to use the temperature dial on this, I'm still fighting it. So an amateur would just have no chance, you know. Right, let's try that again. Now it's had time. Okay, we're gliding now. Okay, that one we're struggling with. That's a ground plane. That's why we're fighting. Yeah. This pin here, that's a ground plane. That's why that one doesn't want to go. This solder would be pretty cooked if it weren't for the fact that I put flux on it, but I couldn't rake with this. Yeah, okay. It works. So I think it's time to start drawing conclusions about all of this, and that is that the iron technically works, but no, you shouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
You should not buy this iron. Even, like, you have to know what you're doing to use this iron, and if you know what you're doing, then you should be using a better tool, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, what is this that you're looking at for £2 on AliExpress?
A 5-volt USB soldering iron.
There's no way that works. There's no way that actually functions. Like,
10-watt soldering iron.
I was going to say, that's the maximum you'd be able to get out of it, isn't it? 10 watts. I mean, you can get 12-watt irons. They exist.
Yeah.
So a 10-watt iron isn't beyond imagination, but that's not enough. That's not enough juice to do anything.
Yeah. 5-volt USB soldering iron, professional electric heating tools, rework with indicator light, handle welding gun, BGA repair.
BGA? BGA? With a 10-watt iron? In a cave? With Tony Stark?
Just pull it out. Do not rotate.
Joe Ho says, order it, order it. DM it to me. I'll stick it on my next AliExpress order.
Just pull it out.
I have to see this. I have to see this. Yep, DM it to me. Next time I'm ordering from AliExpress, I'll stick it in the basket.
USB link use.
Okay, right. Okay, let's pull out.
You can have it
Phrasing.
for £5.
Is it one of those irons powered by crappy vape batteries? I've seen someone in the Slime DIY channel struggle with one of those. No, it is. Well, I assume it has a USB plug on it or an input or something.
Yeah.
Like,
If you get like at the very edge of the picture, there's just like a little.
it must have like a USB to DC jack or something like that.
Yeah.
If I buy that, it would be extremely funny to, like, if it has a DC input, start it at 5 volts on USB just to see what happens, and then just like chop the wire off and plug it into a bench power supply and just see how much it'll do. Like plumb in, like, well, I guess we could go like 5 watts, 5 amps. Sorry, 5 volts, 5 amps, and see what happens. That would be extremely funny and a fire hazard. And I will actually have a bucket of sand on hand, you know. Okay, right. The iron. Let's put this to one side. I'm going to switch over to something else. I'm going to fix my pine sill. The iron. The iron technically works, but it's bad and you shouldn't buy it. And like, in a surprise to no one, you know, like, of course it was going to be bad. But the point is, it technically works, but you will fight it. You will have to run it at obscene temperatures, and it will just demolish its tips. So it's not a skill issue. I think that's what we've learned today. Oh, one more thing. Let's try this stupid solder sucker. Use it to fix the pine sill. Okay.
No.
Yeah, no, you're right. I want the pine sill to actually work. I do actually want to fix my other pine sill. Right. Last test. I'm going to try the solder sucker. Now, I'm not practiced with a solder sucker, so like, I don't know. You know, this isn't really a fair test. I'm going to run that up to 420. Actually, 430, because we're going to need a lot of heat for this. Dare rejected. Yeah. So. Right. Have we got heat? No. I will wait a bit longer. While we're waiting, there's the thing. Where's the blue pine saw? Did I put it on the bench over there?
You put it over there.
Did I? I can't see it from here. Ah, thank you. Thank you. Right, I'm going to fix the pine saw in a minute. And I fixed both my pine saws recently. We replaced the USB power delivery chips in them. However, on this one, I forgot to move the screen when I hot aired the chip, and I cooked the screen, which is why it doesn't have a screen.
I fixed it so good.
Yeah, so we're putting a new screen in that one. All right, are we up to temperature yet? Yes. It feels loose. It feels like it's falling to bits. It just,
Instead of buying this soldering kit, you could order your PCBs from
JLC PCB. Not yet though. I'm still sorting stuff out. Right, here we go. I'm going to try and solder sucker this solder blob. So we're going to heat it. Yeah. It took out some solder. It actually did pretty good, I'd say. So yeah. Let's just try it on a pad. I'll put a big old solder blob on this pad. Big old solder blob. We are armed. Heat it up. And we go... Press the wrong button. Did it. Right, let's try that again. Heat it up and we go... Bam. And the solder's gone.
I guess.
Yeah, that's clean. That's flat, man. That's really good. Yeah. Okay, I want to try something else a sec. Hold on a moment. Here's something with... How well can it clear a pin? There we go. All right. Armed. Oh yeah, I'll try it on a hole in a sec. Yes, I'm going to try it on a pin first.
Did you suck the pin out?
No. However, as you can see, we've taken all the solder out of the hole around the pin. That's actually extremely impressive. I'm just going to try doing that on all of the pins of this IMU and see if I can remove the IMU. No, now, normally, when I'm using my desoldering gun, you'll take out the solder, but the thing will still cling on because that pin would probably still be soldered to the wall of the hole. So that's where I think this is going to fall down. But yeah, shiny IMU spotted. Yeah, Maya is actually, is it Maya? Sorry if I'm butchering your name. Is actually the person who gets these modules built and supplies them. So yeah, if you want BMI 270s, Maya is actually the person you need to talk to, unironically. Right, yeah. Oh yeah, no, I got it. Maya, yes, good. This is the first time I've ever used one of these, if I'm honest. Okay, this is working, man.
It does kind of look like you're snapping the pin off.
Oh, yeah, no, it got it. New favorite tool? Maybe. I have to, because the problem is I bought an electric one of these. You know, my electric solder sucker goes burr. However, and I kind of scorned at the manual ones, but it's working, man. It's working. Missed that one. I think I needed to pull the iron off of it. That's going to need some extra solder, or I won't get another one out of that. And not bad, not bad. One of these is going to be a ground pin that's going to fight us. In fact, I think we found... No, that's fine. I think the next pin is the ground. Cool. Need to start pumping it a few times to clear the solder out in it. Yeah, maybe. Let's see how we go. Oops. Well, there's the solder. Yeah, it's getting a little bit clogged. Got shaky hand. You can see how the solder is clogging up on the inside a little bit. Whoop. It's entirely possible that this tool is a one-shot wonder and like it'll break after a week. But how come the plastic tip doesn't melt? It's probably ABS or some other very high temperature plastic. All right, so no, that's still completely solidly on there. This is kind of what I expected because the pins are still soldered to the walls. This is why desoldering pins like this doesn't work. My strategy for removing this would be to rake it, which I shall just demonstrate now for the sake of posterity. Probably faster than waiting for a motor to suck it. Yeah, the electric boy is instant. I'm not going to get the electric boy out now because I can't be arsed, but... PTFE or Teflon? Yeah. Right. I need to put some more solder on there. And I'm going to use a strat called raking. So I'm using the pine saw for this because, as we've established, the cheap iron is just not capable of doing this. Right, tweezers. Here we go. There we go. So now let's see if I can use the solder sucker to clear the holes on that IMU so it can be refitted. Whoop. Vice that up. Right, here we go. And I'm going to add just a little bit more solder to all of these because when you're trying to clear holes, having more solder to start with helps. Trying to get the last tiny amount out is harder than you think. Sometimes you need to add a bit more before you take away. Right, here we go. Hup. Could I heat that from underneath? Yeah, look at that. As you can see, that hole is dead clear. That's a great result. I'm going to go for a slightly longer range one. Let's try doing it from the top. That's got good range on it. So people are talking about the longevity of this thing, and yeah, it's probably going to melt over time, and it will probably start losing its suck. The piston will wear out and stuff like that. O-rings will go leaky. But for how expensive it is, when that happens, you just buy another one. There we go. And one more. We're running out of solder on that one. I might need to add a little bit more. Pow. Whoops. That's not broken. That's it does that. All right. All right. Okay. So, all right.
It's not broken. It just does that sometimes.
Those holes are now cleared, so I could refit that. It's got like flux residue and stuff like that on it. But you know, just for posterity, I'm going to grab the alcohol and a toothbrush, and we'll clean that up, and it'll look good as new. I'm really impressed with the solder pump, the solder sucker. That's great. There we go. Like I bought one. Time to test the multimeter. Yeah, we'll have a look at that in just a sec. Oh, that bit comes off as well. Caradog is disassembling the thing.
Yeah, because I'm just working out how you'd actually clean it.
Yeah, I don't know. But given that all the solder just seems to go into the tube, I'm not sure it actually matters.
The inside of the nozzle.
Yeah. So, hang on a minute. I'm just going to put it back together again and then take it apart. I don't mean to undo your work, but I'm just going to show the class. Right, so we can... So the points where we can take this apart is we can undo that. And, oh wow. That O-ring is getting messed up super quick by just bits of solder. So you could clean that out though. So you need to clean that out. You've also got this this spike here, which I think is for cleaning that. Maybe. Is that how that works? Is that what you're supposed to do? I'm not sure. And then the spring itself, that's also just splattered with solder already. And then, yeah, as Caradog also discovered, and as people are saying, the front is also removable. So we can undo that. And yeah, like if you could get replacement tips, you could replace the tip, but also you could probably just buy another one for £1. So yeah. I don't know why you'd bother. So yeah. Ah, no,
my bits.
However, the cheapest solder sucker on that money can buy totally works. Totally works. That's a success as far as I'm concerned. I might have put that in the wrong way around. No, that's fine. I'm really impressed with that. I didn't think it would be that easy.
I've never actually seen one used in anger.
Yeah. Like when I was in school and we had the electronics lab in school, there were a couple of these kicking around in just awful condition with melted tips and stuff. And I always saw them and we would play with them because it's just satisfying to, you know, it's a fidget toy. You know, like that's very satisfying. But I didn't understand what it was for or how you used it. But yeah, I thought, because when you plunge it, the actual tip becomes visible at the end there. I thought that like you were supposed to get the solder on there and it would just pull the solder out. And so I was like, how? I don't know how that's supposed to work. But I realize now that no, that's not how it works. It creates a vacuum and sucks the solder. So yeah, that's really good. I'm mega impressed with that. My mate Vince uses the professional red one with a silicone tip. Yeah, like I think the next time I'm buying tools, I'll probably buy a nice one and have it on hand because, like the my electric desoldering pump, that one's kind of better because that one I just go brrr across it and just zap it all out. However, also the electric boy jams, and when it jams, you have to drill the tip out. And now and then I'm going to be like, oh, I need to use the desoldering gun, but it's jammed, and that means I've got to go and drill the tip, and it would be good to have one of those on hand as a backup. So yeah, actually extremely impressed. Cool. All right. What was the thing that people said? A multimeter. So yeah, let's try out the multimeter. So firstly, I've left the fire hazard plugged in. Just do proper tip maintenance. Yeah, hopefully. All right, put that over there. Lovely. That can go into the spares pile again. Good. I need to repair this later so I can use it in a video. All right. Do not try the multimeter on mains voltage. No. 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 Right, I'm going to do some tidying up here super quick.
I mean, that will only explode once. Right?
Yeah, but also, like, I only need one explosion to combust my face. You know, like, it does not take multiple explosions to kill me. You know, I do not have a second phase. Who left this sponge here?
Why am I moist?
There. Okay. Ow! Fuck. I stabbed myself with the tweezers. This is why you got to keep your workbenches tidy, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was going to fix the pine saw. Yeah, we'll do that in a sec. All right. Not me getting distracted. Okay, what batteries does this take? Look, I'm having a good time, okay? Don't be a 9 volt. Oh, it's a 9 volt. Oh, damn. I don't think I have a 9 volt. The other bench power supply is at home, so I think we're going to need to drag the Hanmatech over here. Let's see. Yeah, bench power supply. I think that's what we're going to have to do. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Take it apart. All right. Hold on a sec. Actually, Cowdog, you take it apart while I get the bench power supply.
Very well.
Let's see what the inside looks like. I'm going to guess it's a brown circuit board with... I'm going to guess it's a brown circuit board with like 20 components on it and a mystery black blob as the brains of the outfit.
It's okay, just tape 3 CR2032s.
It's true, but he shouldn't say it.
come out screw and pieces of plastic.
Are you breaking my multimeter?
Yeah.
Right, that's going to plug in there. And I need some crocodile clips.
Psh. You're wrong. It's green.
I can't believe this. Such riches.
It has a really big whisker on a RQ something.
It's a quality product then. Oh no, my crocodile clips are all at home as well.
It also smells like a garden centre.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Come on, I want to sniff.
It smells kind of...
I'm not getting it much, but yeah. Okay, right.
It has 1 roux, 9 roux.
I see. Okay, right. Come on, think. I need some crocodile clips that will work. I tell you what I have got though. I've got some terrible.
I think there's still lots of flux on the board.
Right, I'm gonna commit crimes.
I was gonna say you could just solder straight onto the.
Yeah,
PCB.
that would work. I'll need some fairly long wires. Actually, I tell you what. Yeah, no, I've got a plan. Yes, that will work. We're gonna do it. Okay, mind out. I need to come in and do crime. God, love the piezoelectric speaker. Oh my god.
It's like the flux still on the board.
Yeah. There must be some more stuff on the other side. Like, that can't be it. I don't know if I can be bothered to take it apart any further than that, though.
There's a resistive fuse.
Cutters. All right. Wire strippers. This is a lot of effort for this multimeter. Like, I don't actually think there's very much to learn about the multimeter. It's just going to be a 3-digit multimeter that will be fit for measuring voltages, but nah. Whoop.
Where did it go?
Just solder a wire onto the outside of the battery clips. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of doing, but yeah. So, right, how's that? I picked up a. Is that heating? No, good. Right, hold on. I'm nearly there. My brain is running out of go. Yeah, Caradog is doing some tidying up, which is much appreciated because we're getting into the stage where the bench is super cluttered and it's getting hard to focus. Need more coffee. Now, what's the timer on? We're coming up to 3 hours. So yeah, I will do the pine sill just so it's done and also just so we can finish on something. But yeah.
Do you want the Creality on?
No, you can turn that off. Actually, I'm done. I'm not printing.
Now I get to work out how the hell you turn it off.
There's a push button on the right-hand side of it, and there's a mechanical. Of the tablet. And then there's a mechanical switch on the left side of the printer itself. All right.
I see.
Oh yeah. No, we are heated. Sponge. Okay. What is this? Explosion director.
It took me a moment to work out what the strange contraption with the red fluid in the sponge was. And I realised it was a sponge with a handle.
Yes. Did I just solder onto the wrong contacts? Oh, actually, I think you might be right, but it's fine, because what I'm going to do now, I've soldered. So what I've just done, I took a pair of... I had another set of mega cheap probes like this, and I just cut off the handles. So now I have some cables with banana plugs on them, and I soldered those to a battery, to a 9-volt battery snap terminal. So now I can do this. And now I can plug these banana clips into a power supply. Now the only problem is that I needed to reverse wire those because of what I've done here. So yeah, I'll need to plug these in the wrong way around, but that's fine. That'll work.
It'll be fine, he says. This will work.
This is a lot of trouble for this. This was not worth it. I should have just said I don't have a 9-volt battery and skipped the thing, but I have a cunning plan. Right.
But, well, we're here now.
Bam. Right, plug in Hanmatech. This bad boy's got a Noctua in it. It's massively overvolted because it should have been a 24 volt. All right. Oh, hang on everyone. Sorry, crotch cam. There we go. Right, one power supply. So 9 volt. 2 amps is fine. Not that it's going to use 2 amps, but... And we're plugging these in backwards because I've wired it backwards. And if I'm wrong, then we'll probably just explode it. We could just explode it in a minute anyway, just for the laughs, but... Right. Wrong way. I'm trying to move everything on shot. All right, good enough. Cool, so far so good. Right, let's go 20 volts DC. It works. It's got a light, backlight. Ah, it's blue.
Very good. I can only assume it's a timeout one.
I guess. I can't turn it. Okay. Fine. Just don't short the solder joints against one another. Okay, so it's currently using like 5 milliamps. So yeah, you know what? I'm just going to bring the current limit down to like 100 milliamps, just so an actual short circuit is completely controllable. All right.
So if you probe its own supply...
Okay. This is like that one video that someone did where they where's it? There we go. This is like that one video where they had a VCR and they had the VCR recording its own output and they poked and prodded it in various places while it was recording itself. So every time they poked it in a place, the picture would judder because it's recording the thing you're watching. So you could kind of just watch you were kind of feeling the VCR wincing in pain as it was poked and prodded. It was very strange.
It slightly feels like poking someone's brain.
Yes. All right. This is... What? Oh yeah, they're the other way around. And then I shorted them. Okay. This is a professional show. Oh my god. Okay, we're still on shot somehow. Out of range? What do you mean it's out of range? We're on the 20-volt range and I'm measuring 9 volts.
Because the voltage isn't going through the measuring circuit.
That's not how that works. That's for current.
Because surely the path of least resistance.
No, because we're measuring voltage and you're just measuring a potential difference between 2 points. For current, you have to go through them.
Right, but wouldn't the potential difference effectively be zero because it's the multimeter to the multimeter?
No.
To the supply for the multimeter?
Nope, it should still be able to do that. Let's try getting it over here.
Yeah, because isn't it going to make the multimeter or the power supply massively unhappy?
No, because we're just measuring volts.
Because isn't the power substantially higher when you do that? Yeah, it is.
Am I going insane here, chat? Am I going insane? It won't work. It's divided by 0. Oh, is it because... Yeah, is it because it's powering from itself? Because its reference is itself?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Isn't the PD 0 because it's measuring the potential difference from its reference, which is itself, which is the supply? Therefore, the difference is 0 or infinite.
I'm going cross-eyed.
Don't think about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Number 1, I'm going cross-eyed. And number 2, because I've been streaming for 3 hours, my brain is not capable of processing this information right now.
It's a paradox.
Yeah. Okay.
I think what we've worked out is it's not a VCR.
Accurate. Right. Let's see how good the battery in this mouse is doing. I shall drop down to
Better than Graham is.
I'll drop down to the 2-volt range. Let's see how good the battery in this mouse is doing. Okay, there we go. The battery is at 1.49 volts. We have a reading. It works. All right. Don't do that on a meter you care about. Yeah, I'm not going to try and think about it. I'm not thinking about it. All right.
So this screen and this pencil.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to do a couple of other measurements first. I'm just going to grab a random slime just so we can do some resistance measurements and stuff like that. Just see how fast it reacts and that kind of thing. Test the transistor tester on it. I wouldn't know how, if I'm honest. I've never used it before. I've never used one of those. Let's see.
Which of these slimes actually works?
This one does. Ah, that's not programmed. Oh, it'll still function even though it's not flashed. Here is a meow carrier when I pan down to it. Whoa. Whoa. All right. Right. Cool. Right, so we're diagnosing this slime. Let's check let's check the battery.
I diagnose you with slime.
Oh, we're still in the 2-volt range. So we immediately went out of range there. Let's go to the 20-volt range. I'm so used to auto-ranging multimeters. I hate manual range. All right, so the cell is at 3.95 volts, which is about right. It's a LiPo cell, so it should be between 3 and 4.2. The cursed reverse JST slime. It's not cursed. Heckin' Shinebright should have made room to put a JST on it. It's a skill issue on Shinebright's part. Okay, right. So now let's turn it on. And so now I'll just put the black probe on ground, and immediately slide off. And I will check the 5 volt. This should be at battery voltage minus the diode drop. So we've got, we're at 3.95 at the battery, and we've gone through a diode and lost about 200 milliamps. So yeah, we should have lost, we've lost a bit more than that actually. We're down at 3.6.
How have we lost milliamps?
Oh, sorry, millivolts. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm tired. I'm really tired right now. I'm just like, I'm looking at that pine saw being like, I'm going to do it. It won't take long. Right. And then the 3.3 volt regulator is at 3.28, close enough. All right. So voltage measurements are working. And if we go over to the IMU, I think the top pin is ground. Yep. Second pin is 3.3. Yep, that's measuring the same. So voltage measurements, that's working just fine. Cool. So I'll turn it off now, and let's do some resistance measurements. So we've got a 180 kilo ohm resistor there. So I'm going to go to the 200k range because we're looking for 180 kilo ohms. And we get bad probing. Oh, this is live because that's on the battery. I need to disconnect the battery for that. Even though it's turned off, this is switched on the negative rail, which means the battery sense, which goes directly to the battery, is still hot. So I'll just grab another one because I'm not gonna take that apart and disconnect the battery right now. I'll just grab another one, which will be quicker.
You are batteryless.
Yeah, that's why that measurement was all over the place, because there was still voltage there. Don't try and fix the pine sol now. The last time you did it, you were tired and effed up. Yeah, you're right. We're at the 3-hour marker. I've done a show, and we have looked at everything in the kit. All right, so on that one, no, that's still all over the place.
What is that supposed to be? Should
be 180, and we've got like 135 with a mind of its own.
It should be 130 what?
It should be 180 kilo ohms, and we're getting like 130 kilo ohms.
Right. You are now measuring resistance.
Yes.
Okay.
One more try. I'm just going to do a control test with a known good meter, just to make sure I'm not going insane.
It's there.
Thank you. Right. Here comes my Anning AN8008. This is a low-cost multimeter. So this is a great little multimeter. It's hard to find this at the bargain price. However, sometimes you can find this thing for like $30, or like £20 or something like that. And it's a great little meter for that. Auto ranging, doesn't mess about, nice big clear screen. I am measuring in circuit. Yeah, I'm gonna try an out of circuit resistor in a minute. Oh yeah, no, I think this is an in circuit problem. Yeah, the Anning is also giving me 130k. Yeah, we're measuring in circuit and we're getting a wonky result. So yeah, no, that's fine. That's an in-circuit issue. I'll grab an actual resistor now, just as a final check. But yeah, that's an in-circuit measurement problem.
What's the degree of tolerance on these resistors?
So they should be 5%. However, these are cheap Chinese resistors, so but I wouldn't expect them to be that far out. Right, so bare resistor. It's got a mind of its own, but although I am kind of on the bench here. Come on. It's not confident. Now let's try the Anning. Yeah, 178. Just bang, straight away.
And the variation is much smaller.
Yeah. That's interesting then. So like it can do it, but it's just wildly all over the place. And again, if you're a professional and you know that multimeters sometimes have a degree of confidence and they can wander a bit, then you know that that's just the multimeter is just hunting.
But it's not even getting to the right number.
No.
It's still too low.
Yeah. Try the Anning probes on the cheapo. Sure. That's a fair comment. I think the power supply is an unstable supply. Yeah, that's maybe disturbed by the switching of the power supply. That's not impossible, because that's not impossible. That would be the charitable read on this. Yeah, let's try with known good probes first. So we've got known good probes now. Let's try and get that so it's not catching the light again. There we go. Nah, same thing. It's still hunting.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's not. So it's not probing. Yeah, so it might be the power supply. Yeah, it might be the power supply. Yeah. You say that the 100 milliamp limit might not be enough to measure resistors, but it's pulling 7 milliamps right now, and that doesn't change. I'll give it an amp just for posterity. I've just bumped up the limit to an amp. No, still hunting. So it might do better with a battery power supply. That's inconclusive. I find that hard to believe, personally. But yeah, especially on something this easy. Like if we were trying to measure like to milliohms or something like that, if we were trying to measure tens of milliohms, then I would say, okay, ripple matters here. But we're trying to measure thousands of ohms. We do not.
'Cause that's
we're in kilo
ohms, aren't you? You're not in ohms.
Yeah,
even.
We're measuring kilo ohms here. We're not at a high degree of accuracy. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it's swinging by like 10 kilo ohms is a lot of ohms. It doesn't matter.
No, I don't.
It's not.
It's going to take ages. No, I don't care. This is crap. I mean, it tells you if you're in the right order of magnitude, and the voltages were pretty okay. But voltage is really easy to measurement, so voltage is really easy to measure. So that doesn't surprise me. It measures volts and it will give you resistances within the correct order of magnitude, and that means it can tell you if you're in a dead short. Let's try the short detection on it, actually. So let's go continuity mode. Works really slow.
Yeah.
By comparison, if we go back to the Anning. Now, the Anning is very quick. It's worth noting. It's one of the things that this multimeter is really good at. Very good continuity mode. Oh, I'm not in beat mode. Hold on. It's been a while since I've used this thing. Hang on a minute. That's the one. There we go. Now we're in continuity mode. So as you can see by comparison, the Aneng is just the slightest touch, like just the slightest touch, and the cheap one was missing every single one of those.
Yeah.
So yeah. However, if you hold it down, it will beep. So so fast continuity isn't critical, but it helps increase confidence, because it means that, you know, if you've got bad probing, you're just on the edge, you know, and stuff like that. The Aneng will give you a solid beep. It knows it's there. Whereas this is going to give you really inconsistent, like sort of maybe, I think, I don't know, you know. So yeah. So yeah, the resistance measurement's pretty balls. It will tell you voltages. Continuity mode is pretty hit and miss. One more thing I'm going to do for funsies. Let's just see if it can light up an LED with diode mode. Oh God, that selector switch is... I felt like a bag of nails going all the way around. Yeah. Okay, right. All right, diode mode. How do I select diode mode? Hold. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Right, can it light up a diode?
I mean, hopefully an LED.
Red. 1095. Oh, that must be 1.09 volts forward voltage. That's my interpretation of that. And blue LED. This one will be tougher.
Does it have a higher forward voltage?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, it's got a 9-volt supply on it, actually, so that's fair enough. No read on that, though. Yeah, no read on that. All right. Does Vichy still make good multimeters? I believe so. I don't know if you can find it, but the VC99 is still a really good meter. I've got my VC99 at home, and it's a great cheap meter. Yeah, very good as well. All right, the meter's garbage. So yeah, it is fine. Like, again, you can measure voltages, the resistances. It tells you if you're in the right order of magnitude. Like,
which I guess is something.
Yeah,
but
like
also
yeah, it was coming up with like 170 something, and you can be like, and if you're expecting 180, then you can be like, yes, that's the 180. It's not a 100. It's not a 10. That's supposed to be 180. You can guesstimate with it.
Yeah.
However, if you want to find out if something is in spec, no. Continuity mode technically works. Nah. Current, I'm not going to bother doing that because that's awkward to set up, especially with this nonsense. We could set that up because we've got a bench power supply here, but also we can't do that when it's powering itself, so because that's going to go wonky. So yeah, the multimeter, no, that's pretty tat. It's better than nothing. So again, if we go back to the original point of the video, which was, is this kit functional? It is technically functional. So yeah, again, like when we've got someone who's got a slime that doesn't work and we say, do you have a multimeter so we can check connections? It will do that.
Yeah.
It's not a good user experience, but it could be done. Again, it's better than nothing. So if you actually want to do any work, you should buy a multimeter that is actually not terrible, because again, a multimeter that's not terrible is $20 to $30. They're not. You don't have to buy the $100 multimeter. And like cheap multimeters like this Aneng, you can do professional level work with this thing. It's fine. So yeah.
What would the benefit be for going from a £20 multimeter to a £1,000 multimeter?
So
would there actually be any benefit for like any of the stuff that you've done?
Yeah, for what we're doing today, no. So
yeah.
my
like
current
the stuff that you've done in videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Would there be any benefits?
My current weapon of choice for video work is the Unity UT61E, which is the YouTuber weapon of choice at the moment. I bought one because Muerto had one, and Muerto is cool, so I copy him. And the advantage of this one is just ultra fast. It's got, it's higher quality, it's better built. The selector switch feels gorgeous compared to even the Aneng, and this thing, when you're doing resistance measurements, is just laser fast. You touch it and it's just like 180, like let's just put that to the test. It's slightly awkward probing here, so bear with me. Bam, 177. No hesitation. No wandering. It's not hunting. It's saying that's 177. Just bam. Once again, off and just 177 immediately.
For my curiosity, what's the resistance of the next one along?
Ooh, let me try and see if I can pick that one out. Hang on a minute.
No, my thousandth of a penny.
177.8. So yeah, a little shade higher.
Yeah, but they are still 177. They were both 177.
Both slightly low. Yeah. So
it's just
again, cheap Chinese resistors. If you're building a professional product, please buy something better.
Yeah. But it was also just the fact I was just like, interesting. The variation between two next to each other on a thing was less than one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, fair enough. Given these are cheap random ones, I was half expecting one to be 177 and the other one to be 181.
Yeah. By comparison, the capacitors that I buy for doing repairs, so like 10 microfarad capacitors I buy for replacing on circuit boards, there's a reason why I don't check the value of those before I fit them, and that's because they'll be like a 10 microfarad capacitor. If I actually measure it, it's going to be like 8 or something like that, because cheap Chinese capacitors. But again,
so should you be getting slightly better ones?
For the purposes of the capacitor, if it's within the correct order of magnitude, it's fine, basically, which is why I don't sweat the small stuff. However, if it was a capacitor that was being used for measurement or like a precise regulation of something, like it's a clock circuit or it's in a radio control circuit, that's the point where you need accuracy. Okay. And at that point, you go and buy them from Mauser and you get one that's actually 10 microfarads. But yeah, cheap capacitors will have like 20% tolerance. So yeah. So to answer questions, these unities, I think this was about 80 quid, if my memory serves me. So probably about $100. You can buy something that's pretty decent for less than that. These unities are a bit expensive at the moment, according to other folks, but also it's just very nice. So yeah, I'm enjoying this meter a lot. It's faster, it's more confident, and it's just got more features in it that work more consistently. Like for example, this Aneng doesn't have a relative function on it, whereas this one does. And what that means is that if you've got losses in your probes, relative allows you to compensate for resistance in the probes. So for example, these are sharp probes, so it's difficult. There we go. So these probes, we've got like 0.07 ohms in there. I can rel that. There we go. So now that's measuring 0. So now I've now compensated out that 0.07 ohms. And the Aneng doesn't have that function.
So if you were measuring effectively a 1 ohm short, sub 1 ohm short, and you were like, actually, is this a sub 1 ohm short?
Yeah.
Or is this going through a GPU die?
That's it. So now hypothetically, because I can compensate out losses in probing and stuff like that, this thing might be theoretically capable of doing triangulation. So we can start taking resistance measurements around a board and triangulating where the short is based on milliohms of resistance. Okay. But if you want to do that, you should probably rock up with a five-digit multimeter instead of a 4-digit. So yeah, this is the point where you start rocking up with a Siglant, or a bit high-end Fluke or something like that. So yeah, or again, an even higher end Unity. That's, you're getting into fairly high end detective work, and that's a bit beyond me. I just know the theory of it. But yeah, so yeah, the cheap multimeter. No, this is pretty wank. It's better than nothing. But again, if you're, that's kind of the story of this kit. Apart from the solder, which is literally not fit for use, everything in it theoretically works. But if you want it for anything other than a one-shot wonder, you should just buy something else. And you should just accept the fact that if you want to do some electronics work, you want to do some soldering work, you should budget $100 to buy a soldering iron, a multimeter, some solder, and so on. The only thing that kit is really good for is you get some, you've got some tweezers in there, you've got the wire stripper, you've got the solder pump, but also you could just buy those for £1 each if you're on AliExpress anyway. Yeah. So just, it begs the question, is there anything in there worth having? And I don't think so. Like a cheap screwdriver set is probably worth having because it's going to have like 100 bits and it's going to have some really obscure bits that you're going to need once in your lifetime. That set is worth having anyway. This soldering kit, I don't think it's worth buying because the only things in it that might be useful, you could just buy those as separates anyway. For
a very low price anyway.
Yeah. So the bottom line is the kit was rubbish. I can't recommend any part of it. However, the only thing that just flat out didn't work was the solder. Everything in it does technically work except the solder. That was actually a hard no.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. I hope that was interesting. I think that was very interesting results. That was a 3.5 hour stream, but I actually enjoyed the results of that. So yeah, yeah. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to work. I was very confident in it.
Very well.
And I'm going to go back to the Slime VR community and say, you guys were right. It was bollocks. So yeah.
However, it's also a case of it's the solder that's the problem.
Yes, the solder was the actual showstopper.
If someone already has a kit, and they go, I can't get on with it, you can at least say to them, get new solder, and for a lower price than buying literally everything,
and
you
also
might get something that's usable.
Yeah, some half decent solder. This is Mechanic brand solder, and you can buy Mechanic brand solder on AliExpress, and this is good stuff. So if you do want to buy some good solder with a crap kit, look for something made by Mechanic. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I learned a lot from that. I thought that was interesting. We'll be back next week with something else. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Bye and stuff.
Goodbye.